time to meet the people on the Keeler Show today.
It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen?
Keeler's always in the know.
It makes me want to call him
And tell him where to go.
And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started.
It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, I think we're going to get a little snow tonight and tomorrow. Be ready for that. Do you know that the schools, I don't think the schools have even, most schools, some have, but most schools have not even used a snow day this year.
I don't think they have.
It's craziness.
But if there's a 2-inch snowfall,
Might be. That's exactly right. So there is a winter weather advisory in effect for us, but to the north, it is a winter storm warning. So be aware of it. This morning, Tim Julian is in. I want to get his take, a former mayor of Utica.
That's right.
And get his take on this tax increase and the budgets. And, you know, is it possible that the former mayor left the city in a really tough position? Or is it not the former mayor's fault? It'll be interesting to get Tim's take on it. We mentioned we've had a candidate in here who says he's running against Ken Blankenbush. Ken Blankenbush is the assemblyman that covers town of Lee, Boonville, so just to the north of us.
A lot of people say, I don't know who Ken Blankenbush is.
Well, he's on the radio this morning. We'll speak with the assemblyman, Blankenbush, Tanya Powers, later on this morning. How about, doesn't it just disappoint the hell out of you when you see what happened in Kansas City?
It is just a heartbreaking thing, and I can't even believe that it happened. The strange part is that there's 3 people that are in custody. You know, obviously, when these events happen, it's usually
and are they young?
One lone person.
Are they young?
I don't know the details on that as far as that goes, but that there were 3 individuals that were possibly responsible for this.
Yeah, and they're saying it is criminal. Well, of course it is.
Well, yeah.
But I don't know what that necessarily is going to mean when it's all said and done. But here you are having a celebration. This happened in Denver. It's happened elsewhere. Is this a new trend? The minute the sports team has a major celebration, everybody gets together and somebody decides they're going to bring a gun and start shooting people up.
So this is from the latest update from Kansas City Police. Their last update was at 5:30 p.m. The investigation does continue, but we can confirm at least 1 person dead, 22 shot. We will post an update on Twitter. CR news conference with the chief, mayor, and fire chief streamed their update prior to that, 3:45. Still trying to determine the exact number of victims. So they do not have any details on who the suspects were. There are 2 armed suspects that were detained.
Or why? Was it just to shoot people up?
Nothing on why now. But yeah,
were they disgruntled football fans? Are they just looking to start trouble? Are they looking to kill people? Were they looking to rob something? And you know, this is all with an enormous police presence. You realize this is a soft target. And there are so many soft targets in a free society that you will always be vulnerable. We can do everything possible to prevent something from happening, but you can never completely prevent something from happening. And this, unfortunately, is proof of that. Here's a little bit. One of the suspected gunmen in yesterday's parade shooting was tackled to the ground by fans as he was attempting to run from the scene. Here's Paul Contreras, who was caught on camera right after it happened, telling the story of how it was really Good Samaritans who made the first stop here.
We tackled him. He got close to me. I got the right angle on him, and I hit him from behind. And when I hit him from behind, I either jarred the gun out of his hand or out of his sleeve. Because as I'm taking him down to the ground, I see the gun on the ground.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they were inspired by their team with the tackling,
I guess that's right. As for your situation about the 49ers defensive coordinator,
I can't believe that.
Listen. If I didn't like you, we'd find a way to replace you. And I kind of wonder if it's like that. I don't mean to be like that. I'm not trying to be like that. But the idea is if the head coach, maybe the two of them just didn't get along, and all of a sudden, and that would mean all of a sudden that how well he performed really doesn't matter. We'll find somebody else, but he's screwing me up in my game because I keep arguing with this guy. Or every time I look at him, he makes me sick. Right?
It's coming out this morning.
There's a human aspect of all of this.
No, you're right. And I do remember there was even an incident where a timeout was called, and Jim Nantz and Romo kind of made a comment about that. Like there was some defensive look that Kyle Shanahan didn't like and called the timeout, and then you could visibly see him showing concern. So
yeah,
maybe there is something to that.
Sometimes that's all it takes. It's like, who do you think you are doing this to me?
Yeah.
I'm the head coach.
I'm the one choking here because I can't call offensive plays, and I
Maybe.
can't give the ball to Christian McCaffrey.
But all I'm saying, it might not be a performance issue.
Yeah, that is very true.
I'm only throwing that in there. Just as
a lot of people believe Kyle Shanahan, not John. Who's the GM there? John.
John Lynch.
John Lynch. A lot of people say Kyle Shanahan's calling all the shots, so it's very possible that Shanahan just wanted him out.
That's it. Well, he's the head. I mean, he's the head coach. Usually, the head coach. The head coach is going to carry a lot of weight there. So, if you don't get along with the head coach, who knows? I don't know that that's a scenario. Here's the Kansas City Police Chief, Stacey Graves, making the announcement about the injured in yesterday's shooting.
We have confirmed there is one deceased person. Our gunshot wound total has went up to 22. We're still working on a total number of victims. This is still an active investigation. Immediately, officers responded to the area, took 2 people into custody, and also immediately rendered life-sustaining aid to those victims.
So, do you know the person who was killed?
No.
Was a radio personality.
Oh, my gosh.
She, in Kansas City, her name was Lisa Lopez Galvin. She hosted a Latin music show called Taste of Tejana on a public radio station, KKFI. There was also a TV show that was broadcasting live while it was all going on, and it looked like the thing was over with. It was just, everybody was wrapping up. And they were.
So this was post the floats and the team.
For the most part, everything was at this point wrapping up. It was after this moment with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. Trust me.
If you know this song, sing along. Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in booze and ruined the Niners affair.
Okay. He's snookered.
Yeah, leave the singing to Taylor Swift.
That's Travis Kelce.
And by the way, I hate you.
Yeah, I'm afraid.
The last one to know. We were the last one to show. We were the last ones they thought they'd see there. And I saw the surprise, that fear in their eyes. And we took that glass of champagne. Pat took that glass of champagne, I promise.
Here's Patrick.
I got friends in low places.
I wish they were drunk like that during the game. Then the 49ers probably would have won.
They're an embarrassment.
You know what happens is in the middle of the night, she's probably telling him, you are a good singer. And now he's like, I'm going to get drunk and sing Friends in Low Places.
My girlfriend said I could sing good.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, they won, right? I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? They have the chance to be able to go out there and do that crap.
Except for it's fixed.
Meanwhile, Josh Allen, where was Josh Allen during the big parade?
He was with his superstar girlfriend.
He was not.
He was playing golf with Tiger.
He was playing golf with Tiger Woods.
Nice.
Yeah, he was, Davey. How about that? And while all that's going on, there's a woman in Florida. It just shows you the epicenter of their world is right there during that parade. For us here, we're paying no attention. We're all running around trying to figure out where are we going to go to dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Can't find any place that's open. What's going to go on? We're going to the hockey game. What are we doing? In Florida, there was a woman being gored by a bull. That was going on. The sirens and it just shows you that every little spot in the world. Meanwhile, Russia over there, they're trying to put nuclear weapons up in space.
Great.
I mean, this is so much fun.
They're trying to pull a what's that Netflix movie that Obama and Michelle made?
It's like that. Yeah, it's like I think we can
far end of the world or whatever.
And to be honest with you, I think that Russia is probably at its most dangerous because Russia right now is probably at its weakest that it has been in probably over 10 years because of they're spending so much in human life and in money and in weaponry and losses on this Ukraine war. So what do you do if you're feeling weak? What do? You remind everybody we have the technology. We have nuclear weapons.
Yeah, you're on the ropes. You got to go to your desperate.
And that is probably the most dangerous place. It's like putting a rabid dog in a corner. You don't want to do that.
Mm-mm.
You always put a rabid dog in the center of the room. It's a rule. That's a veterinarian rule.
Calm it down.
A Florida woman who was gored by a bull on her farm got unexpected life-saving news when she had x-rays done for her broken rib. Doctors found a tumor in her lung that had not been found sooner would have killed her. Isn't it amazing how these things happen? It took a bull to gore her, for God's sakes.
It's unbelievable.
And then the doctors found it. Here's Teal Mull talking about bless you, Davey. Oh, my Lord, I'm glad there's a
big glass
some people
barrier.
Call that a window. I call it a sneeze.
A sneeze guard?
A sneeze guard. We're like the buffet in here. Anyway, her name is, what did I say? Teal Mull, talking about the bull attack. And then the medical issue, and then here's her doctor saying, it's unbelievable that we found this tumor.
When I walked outside, I saw my son getting whammed by this bull. I just kind of gave up the ghost. I was like, okay, Lord, it's me or you. You know, I'm done here. I can't hold out any longer.
Look at this little sucker that they found at the same time. That right there is the tumor. Your x-ray that you just got looks great. So all the things that you're doing are perfect.
I'm alive, and I'm going to stay alive. I just feel like I got another chance.
Oh, there you go. Well, I think in the second chance, keep your kid away from the bull.
Yeah.
Keep your kid from the bull.
Although maybe you do,
be better off.
It's an advantage here.
Richard says, your FM is off the air. That's what delayed me this morning. I didn't think we were on the air at all because that's how I listen to the radio station on our FM, 106.9 FM, which supposedly is changing, right, at some point, Davey?
Yeah.
We're going to another frequency?
Yeah, we know, but we can't tell them yet.
We know what it is,
yes,
but we can't tell people.
Right.
Boy, it feels so good to be in the know, doesn't it? I don't know. I don't even know what it is. But I know it's another frequency that we're going on that they say is going to be stronger, bigger, better. We call it the $6 million signal.
So yesterday I went down to the IHF Women's Championship.
I want to talk about that. They had a big press conference yesterday.
Yeah.
And they've created basically an Olympic village, right?
It's not created yet, but they're working on it.
So you know what happens at the Olympic Village.
It's called the Subaru World Village.
All right. Well, it's amazing because it's the old Odd Delicious.
Yep.
So do they have in there like little hotel rooms and what's inside there?
They just got the bar and it's all painted red. Rob gave us a tour of it yesterday.
Okay.
They just started work on it.
All right.
If you see, there's going to be a big banners. There's going to be a Ferris wheel out front of All Delicious.
Wow.
It's going to be like a place where people that can't go and watch, they can go watch the games at All Delicious.
So there'll be things to do over there. It's almost like what do they call the Super Bowl? At the Super Bowl, everything going on, all the festivities leading up to the Super Bowl are like you can go. There's you can throw a football and all this crap.
There's going to be a live
bars and parties.
Yeah.
The NFL experience is what they call it.
It's going to be like an indoor experience. There's going to be a live stage. They're going to have a couple acts from
Okay.
Nashville
Right.
coming up and playing music.
That's cool.
Yep.
That's very cool. What else do I have? You know, I just want to say, don't you think we're paying you people enough? I'm sorry, it's a
What do you
person.
mean,
I'm looking
you
at my
people?
emails, and my daughter's college is asking for more money. I think we pay these people
Are
enough.
these donations?
Yeah.
You know, universities have a lot
help
of...
us help the world. Please donate to us. I think the money that we're paying, you should be able to help the world. You don't need me to help the world. Give me a break.
Colleges and universities, they have a lot of cojones asking people for money.
It's unbelievable.
Hey, I know you just graduated with hundreds of thousands in debt. Can we have a couple more?
They have no problem asking for money. Can you turn that off up there? It's starting to get hot. Yeah. This air conditioning unit we have here in this building works well, except in the wintertime. The problem is there's no circulation in this building, and it just gets hot. I like it cold. You can't get any air in here,
Some
though.
like it hot.
Okay, let's see. The United States, do you know which country where we stand against the rest of the world for the world's largest economies? This is why I keep saying, despite the fact that, you buy tomatoes in the grocery store and it's inflated, the price is inflated. Although I did a whole thing on roses yesterday. We pay less for a dozen roses now than we did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's because every grocery store and convenience store has pretty nice roses that probably die a day later. But you can go in and buy them and say, honey, I went to the florist and got you these.
I usually, go to one particular grocery store on a regular basis because I always like my fiance to have fresh
How much
flowers.
do you want to know? I know the story's up on our site right now. Do you know what it would cost you to get if you went to Hannaford? A dozen roses, $24.99.
It's not bad.
You have to deliver them, though.
That's not
But
bad.
if you go to Walmart, Dave, you know what it costs at Walmart?
$14.99.
$8.47, whatever their number.
$9.47.
That number. Is it 47?
It's
like
Aldi has
$9.
good flowers too.
Aldi's, you can get them. Yeah.
I did very well yesterday. I'm just gonna say.
Good for you. Well, you've done an awful lot. I mean, you've proposed. You've got a wedding coming up. There's a big party.
Yeah.
You're having a what do they call that?
An engagement party.
An engagement party. Mm-hmm. Thank you for inviting us. I think we'll go. Yes. Do we have to bring a gift?
I don't think so.
I think we do. Don't be like that. I think we do.
Honestly, I don't know the rule about that.
My wife and we're having that conversation, but I think we do. We got to bring something.
Listen.
Okay. So where does the United States stand around the world when it comes to the economy? World economy. We have the number one economy in the world, followed by China, now followed by Germany because Japan has fallen out of the. Maybe Japan fell to like number 4. They've moved into a recession. Ooh. That's a little scary. You wonder about that because what happens around the world could
come back around,
seep into our world.
Yeah.
As Japan's economy has now dropped into a recession. I realize that seems like it's no big deal, but it's something we should keep an eye on. Not that you can do anything about it, so don't even care. Don't even watch it. What else do I have? A lot of talk yesterday about our conversation with the new mayor of Utica, Mike Galimi.
Yes.
I was on the radio yesterday discussing the whole issue of a 16.5. That's the number he's proposing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know how this works. He'll propose it. The council will come in and say, boy, I think we can cut over here, we can cut here, and they'll bring it down to I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they bring it down to about 10%, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And, if
it would be really
case,
symbolic for them to bring it down to single digits if they could do it.
Yeah.
But you're going to see cuts because of that.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of interesting. While 16.5 is a significant increase, when you look at, and again, any tax increase is an increase, and with people, especially a lot of people living, sometimes paycheck to paycheck, and they're very tight on their budgets already. When it works out to about $20.40 a month at its current, it could be a lot worse. I could say that.
I guess it could be a lot worse.
I was expecting when you hear, when everything was originally reported, it could be 10 to 17.5%, and we could. I'm thinking, okay, is that 10 or 17% on my total tax bill? Well, no, it's just the 16.5% increase on the tax rate for the city tax, it's not as bad as it could have been.
Did you see the story out of Syracuse area? A man who was fired from Upstate Medical Center was found in a vehicle
I did see this.
near the Upstate Medical Center with a loaded shotgun. Police said they believe a shooting at a northern New York hospital may have narrowly been avoided after a disgruntled, I'm reading a state story here, after a disgruntled former employee was pulled over with a loaded semi-automatic shotgun just a few blocks away. So you kind of, this actually was not out of Syracuse, this is out of Plattsburgh.
Yeah, Champlain Valley Physicians Hospital.
It's kind of like the situation where when they said upstate, I thought it was Upstate Medical.
Yeah,
it was not. This, however, is a situation where you wonder, was that his intent? He was disgruntled. He was unhappy. He's probably distraught because he's lost his job. And there he is with a semi-automatic weapon. That alone, having a weapon, I guess, in your vehicle alone is not, as long as you're up to
you've got right. You're allowed to have it.
That alone is not the crime, but they feel that he was planning to do one of their mass shootings at the hospital. That was in Plattsburgh, not Syracuse. Sorry. What else? This is a terrible story out of Indiana. A dog in Indiana found a zip tie. A dog in Indiana found with a zip tie around its snout was freed by police and then adopted by the officer that saved him.
What is wrong with people?
I don't know what someone would do, but this is how they stopped the dog from barking. They put a zip tie. And it's a wonder it did not cut off the breathing of the dog.
Oh, my God.
Prevent the dog from being able to breathe. Anyway, the officer that found the dog, I believe the officer was a she. The officer who found the dog has now adopted the puppy, who is now named Zeus. Here's audio on this one.
He's got a zip tie tight around his mouth.
Hi, come here. Hi, you're so pretty. Hi. All right, come on, let's get you cut out. Come here. Yeah, they're coming. Yep. Let's go for it.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, so she adopts the dog. Some people are, and this is one of the things why I always say, if you don't want a dog, you should be able to easily get rid of the dog without being shamed.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. I get it. It's like, well, you shouldn't have adopted the dog if you're not responsible enough to have the dog. I understand that. But at the end of the day, do you really want the person? This was Manaski's point of view. If you remember, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, he was talking about this, and he took a little heat for it. But I agree with him. If you aren't someone who can be happy with the dog, we should make it easy for you to get rid of it. Because what we don't want is for you to drop it off somewhere in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Or, for God's sakes, put a zip tie around the dog's snout. That's just terrible.
Well, that's a different story. So,
now that becomes criminal.
Right.
Whoever does that could be arrested for that.
You think about the story of the dog that was, left, or the people said, "Oh, I found this dog at the intersection," and turning it into the Humane Society is different than, and it turned out to be their dog, is different than, I'm going to just put a zip tie around this dog and let it free in the wild. I mean, that's a totally different story.
Some comments here this morning, and then I have to break. Thank you to Mayor Galin. This comes from Lance and Lee. A rare compliment from Lance.
It's almost like he was testing the mayor with his questions.
He had
prior to this.
He had some tough questions, but here he says, "Thank you to Mayor Galimi for answering questions. It's a nice change to have a mayor willing to do that." I feel like Jack Izzo was always willing to come on.
Yeah.
Mayor Palmieri was rare. It was rare for us to get him. It's nice change to have a mayor willing to do that. Now try to get the comptroller to do the same. Good luck with that. And then he says, so the ambulance service brings in $3 million, but what are the true expenses? I guarantee it's well over $3 million. This is the part where I wonder about the numbers. They keep saying that the ambulance service does bring in, it makes money. We were told it makes money. And I think Samantha told us that, and Galima, they both told us that. The question is, if you're, it's very hard to balance those numbers, right? Because it's tied to the fire department. It makes it very difficult to be able to come up with the actual number. I got a break. Hold on tight. We're coming right back. As we said, there's some snow in the forecast. Looking for some accumulation overnight. If you're to the north, it looks like a winter storm warning up there. For the rest of us, it'll be a winter weather advisory. Could be a tricky drive, a tricky commute tomorrow morning. Be ready for that. And even later on today as snow moves into the area. 646 at WIBX.
Pure Talk believes in American values and that free should mean exactly that, free. Well, switch to Pure Talk today and you'll get a free Samsung 5G smartphone. No 4-line requirement, no activation fees, just a Samsung that's built to last with a rugged screen, quick charging battery, and top-tier data security. Now, qualifying plans start at just $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, and, of course, mobile hotspot. Now, Pure Talk will connect you to the most dependable 5G network in America for half the price of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. The average family saves close to $1,000 a year. So let Pure Talk's expert U.S. customer service team help you make the switch today. It's simple, it's fast, it's easy. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, claim your eligibility for your free brand new Samsung 5G smartphone, and start saving on wireless today. Again, from your phone, dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, and switch to my cell phone company, Pure Talk.
Why get an updated COVID vaccine? If you're 65 or older, a COVID vaccine can keep you out of the hospital. And if you have heart disease, a COVID vaccine can help you stay healthy. With COPD or other lung diseases, getting a COVID vaccine can keep you off a ventilator. Anyone can get severely ill from COVID. But some people are more at risk. Know your risk and make sure you're up to date on your COVID vaccine. A message from the New York State Health Department.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Start learning a language today at Babbel.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Have you done that, Babbel?
I haven't.
I did it. I did it because I wanted to learn. We're going to be away this summer, and I wanted to learn.
I had to be able to tell people off.
I did it a couple of years ago. Did it when we went to France, and I just you feel like I hate to say it's a really good. You're driving down the road and you're practicing your language. It's a good service. They used to have services out there that would come that were like CDs, and that was a very expensive program. This isn't that bad. It's not that expensive.
Yeah.
It's right on your phone. But I failed at it. Then I didn't like Spanish. So this year I've been working on Spanish because we're going to end up seeing an old. I believe we're going to see an old foreign exchange student that we had.
Oh, that's
from
awesome.
Spain. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. I've not seen him since the 80s. Anyway, I was kind of struggling with that. I took Spanish in school. I know enough, but not. So I feel like the person, which is really probably artificial intelligence, is looking at me like I'm stupid. So I went back into the settings, and I set it up as if I was learning English, and I aced it.
There you go. Your little confidence boost.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, I knew all of the English words. I could speak it fluently, and they were like praising me. But I made it seem as if I spoke Spanish, but had just aced the English language.
That's a great way to set yourself up for success.
5 stars for me. 5 stars.
You know, it is fascinating how in every other country they're prone to being multilingual. They start teaching languages as early as kindergarten or
all
even
these other
earlier.
countries do such a. You can. It's very seldom do you go to a place where they don't speak English.
Right.
In France, it's true, same thing. But the French, though, mess with you. The French don't. The French want you to speak their language. How dare you think we have to? We can speak English. I was in one place a couple of years ago, and we're at it was a little restaurant, and the woman could not understand what we were ordering.
Yeah.
It was a mother, father, and son who ran the restaurant. It was their restaurant. Beautiful. And she just could not understand us. And I'm just trying to work. We're all explaining, and you talk a little slower, and then my wife's trying to speak in French a little bit, and she's able to pull it off.
Those French menus.
That woman would not speak English to us. So I walked up to pay the bill, and the guy said, I swear to God, the kid, he had to be like 17 years old.
Yeah.
He said, I gave him my credit card, and he said, Bill Keeler. I'm like, is there someone here from Utica?
And
he said,
streaming on YouTube?
It said, and speaking in somewhat broken but perfect English, Bill Keeler, you're from New York. I want to go to New York. I'm going to go. And next year, when I graduate, I'm going to New York City, and I'm going to do an internship, and then I'm going to college in America.
Wow.
The kid speaking fluent English.
Where were you?
Later on, the mother and him are talking back and forth in English. So they don't want to help you. They want you to work to speak their language.
Yeah, where were you an hour ago,
Yeah.
Mr. New York?
That's exactly right. The kid spoke very, very proper English. I couldn't believe it. This is a shocking story to me, and I hope it doesn't affect. I'm a big Honest John's fan. Hot dogs.
Yeah.
We're going to be getting into that season.
Yes,
the
we
hot
are.
dog season. And I love Utica-made Honest John's brand hot dogs, but you can't find them everywhere.
Right.
This might actually be really good, but Hoffman Hot Dogs out of Syracuse, the company, which is Hoffman Sausage Company, has been sold.
What?
Yeah. The company that dates back to the 1800s, goes back to the 1800s, has now been sold for the second time in the last 12 years. So Hoffman Hot Dogs was acquired from the Hoffman family. From the 1800s until 2012, it was owned and operated by the Hoffman family. But in 2012, they sold to an ownership group that included the United Indian Nation, Jim Boeheim, the former police chief in Syracuse, former SU basketball player Dennis Duval, former NFL quarterback Roger Staubach,
what?
And restaurateur Phil Romano, who's from Auburn. Remember that, Davey? They all put a group together and they bought Hoffman Hot Dogs.
Yeah.
And now they have sold Hoffman Hot Dogs to a Miami company.
Oh, no.
So this is a company that
Boeheim owned some of that.
What is it?
Wasn't Boeheim in some of that?
Yeah. 1972, this Miami, it's called Miami Beef. They were founded in 1972, so it's not as old of a company. But they made beef products. They did not make hot dogs, so they wanted to expand what it is that they do, so they have reached out and they purchased Hoffman Hot Dogs.
Wow.
And their plan is to keep everybody and actually keep it in Syracuse. Their plan, that's what Remington was told, right? All the employees over there. Anyway, their plan is to keep it in Syracuse. And the goal is to add more equipment. Right now, Hoffman Hot Dogs is available on the East Coast. The plan is to make Hoffman Hot Dogs within the next 24 months a national brand.
That is awesome.
So it could be a really big expansion at the end of the day.
Yeah.
For Hoffman Hot Dogs. Of course, they have the natural casings, so you get the snap.
Yeah, well, there's the snappy grillers, and then there's their original one, which is very good.
And they also have the white hot dog, those white dogs.
I think those are the snappy grillers.
They might be. And with the impending weather, we're talking about having the potential of a winter storm. We have a winter weather advisory for us here in the valley. But as you get to the north, it'll turn into a winter storm. We are expecting an accumulation. It'll be windy and blustery. They're saying winds in parts of upstate New York could reach 50 miles an hour or more. They're expecting waves on Lake Ontario. This is going to be a sight to be seen. Waves on Lake Ontario to exceed 16 feet. So this next 48 hours is going to be somewhat inclement. And travel conditions, just be aware, could probably be a little on the nasty side.
Bill Morehouse is messaging in saying, speaking of hot dogs, what's the difference between a Yankee hot dog and a New York Mets hot dog? Answer, you can buy a Yankee hot dog in October.
That's a great line. I mean, Bill, I'm going to tell you, that's a very funny line.
Oh, boy.
Although this is our year.
Pitchers and catchers report.
I do mark it down. Mark it down. Today is the 15th of February, 2024. This is our year. Mets. We'll see. Got a break. We have news straight ahead in WIBX.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-518-1409. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-518-1409. That's 800-518-1409. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Are you tired of the constant battle with unwanted hair? Give us a call at A Soothing Touch Laser Hair Removal for hassle-free permanent hair removal. With our affordable pay-as-you-go programs, no confusing contracts or memberships, and no hefty upfront costs, achieving the smooth skin you have always wanted without breaking the bank is just one call away. Just in time for Valentine's Day, our gift certificates make the perfect gift for your Valentine or Galentine. Say goodbye to unwanted hair and hello to confidence. Visit our website today where affordability meets perfection at ASoothingTouchLaserHairRemoval.com.
The Potting Shed Antiques in Whitesboro is buying silver, gold-filled, vintage costume, estate jewelry, and U.S. and Canadian coins. They've been your hometown buyer for the past 52 years. While other gold and silver buyers claim to offer the highest prices, the Potting Shed Antiques actually delivers. Let Don Hartman take a look at your individual pieces or your entire collection. The Potting Shed Antiques, open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Please call ahead for an appointment. Visit thepottingshedsAntique.com.
Looking for a new career? Liverpool Pool and Spa wants to hear from you at their brand new location on East Dominic Street in Rome, where they're hiring full and part-time installers, service techs, and retail sales with plenty of room for advancement. Good pay, great work culture, and just a fun place to work. It's more than just a job, it's a career. Plus, you get to create people's backyard oasis. They'll train the right people, and you can apply in person at Liverpool Pool and Spa, 1501 East Dominic Street in Rome. Don't just dream it, live it.
Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you to the limits of your plan. Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with promo code CLAY.
WIBX Utica, Rome, it's 7 o'clock.
Trying to make sense of another mass shooting, CJ Papa, Fox News.
All of a sudden we hear gunshots. We thought they were fireworks, and then everybody just starts running right at us.
The horrific experience for that woman and all the other supporters of the Kansas City Chiefs gathering again to celebrate the team's victory in the Super Bowl, but the cheers turning to tears when gunfire rings out. Fox's Bill Malusian reports.
Authorities say as of right now, at least 3 people are in custody in connection with the shooting. They've also recovered at least 1 gun on scene. The motive and what initially caused all this is still under investigation. A local hospital in Kansas City says they've been treating 11 children, 9 of which had gunshot wounds. Thankfully, we got some good news on that front. The hospital said that all of those kids are expected to survive and make a full recovery.
Lisa Lopez Galvan, a popular local radio DJ and mama too, was identified as the person who was killed in the mass shooting. Well, calls for President Biden to declassify intel related to what's been described as a serious national security threat.
House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Turner sounding the alarm on what he calls a serious national security threat. And he's calling on President Biden to, quote, declassify all information relating to this threat so that Congress, the administration, and our allies can openly discuss the actions necessary to respond to this threat. Sources tell me that the threat does concern Russian capability, noting the potential seriousness is grave, but it's not immediate. If Russia did put nukes in space, it would break the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which bans nuclear weapons in outer space.
That's Fox's Brooks Singman. 5 people killed in a missile strike on the Russian city of Belgrade. That's according to the local governor. The Israeli military saying today it has credible intelligence that Hamas held hostages at Nasser Hospital, and terrorists appeared to be operating from within the hospital as well. America is listening to Fox News.
If you have a bank account, pay attention. The U.S. banking system is once again under extreme stress, but there is an easy way to protect yourself. Gold. Contact Noble Gold Investments today and safeguard your family's financial future. As a thank you for opening a qualified account, they'll give you a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. Just use the promo code GOLD. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Pure Talk believes in American values and that free should mean exactly that, free. Well, switch to Pure Talk today and you'll get a free Samsung 5G smartphone. Now, qualifying plans start at just $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, and, of course, mobile hotspot. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, claim your eligibility for your free brand new Samsung 5G smartphone. Start saving on wireless today and switch to my cell phone company, Pure Talk.
Good morning, WIBX 950 News Time, 7:03. I'm Andrew Domenio. 15 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Your full weather forecast is coming up. This update brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica on Commercial Drive in Yorkville. New York State Police were very busy over Super Bowl weekend as they conducted another increased Stop DWI patrol. Officials announced Wednesday there were over 100 individuals who were arrested on DWI charges. They also issued several tickets for various violations. State police say, in addition to the 139 driving while intoxicated arrests that were made, troopers issued a total of 6,876 tickets for various other violations, including reasons like speeding, distracted driving, seatbelt violations, and move-over law violations. The good news is that last year during Super Bowl weekend, police issued 8,311 tickets and arrested 141 people, so both numbers have decreased considerably. In addition to violations, state police investigated 245 crashes. 37 people were injured as a result. Luckily, there were no fatal accidents reported. We will soon be hearing about the commission's decision and vote in Albany today on a brand new set of congressional district maps for the Empire State. If those maps are approved, they'll then be sent to the state legislature, who also must sign off on them. The exact layout of the maps and their changes have not been released to the public just yet. The goal is for these new maps to be used for this year's elections. 2 more concerts have been added to the lineup of this year's New York State Fair. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts will be on the Suburban Park stage August 28th as part of Women's Day, and on August 29th, a trio called Chapel Heart is set to perform at Chevy Court. There is no cost to see either performance since daily concerts are part of the admission to the fair, which runs August 21st through September 2nd. Not that we're rushing summer along. And finally, Tiger Woods is making his return to the PGA Tour when he tees off at the Genesis Invitational at Riviera Country Club. He's making his first start in an official tour event since pulling out of the weather-delayed third round of the Masters last April. The 48-year-old underwent fusion surgery on April 19th to address post-traumatic arthritis he suffered in a prior car wreck. Woods will be alongside Justin Thomas and Gary Woodland in his first round of the tournament. It is 7:06. Your weather forecast is brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint at the WIBX Weather Center. Today, increasing clouds turning windy into the afternoon. Wet snow developing late afternoon and evening. The ride home will be slick and slippery, a high of 36. Tonight, windy, colder, snow showers, a low of 27. And tomorrow, blustery, turning colder, leftover snow showers and flurries, a high of 32. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
15 degrees under mostly sunny skies. It is 7:06. Repeating the top of the hour news story you heard through Fox News. One person dead, 22 people injured after a shooting at the Chiefs Super Bowl parade Wednesday. Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves says 3 suspects have been detained. Graves said they are reviewing video of several parade goers who tackled a suspect to determine if one of those detainees was not a good Samaritan. The mayor of Kansas City said the White House called to offer any help. Meanwhile, the Chiefs have released a statement regarding the shooting. The organization said it's truly saddened by the senseless act of violence that occurred outside of Union Station. Their hearts go out to the victims, families, and to all of Kansas City. The team also said it's in close communication with the mayor's office and the Kansas City Police Department. The Chiefs did confirm all players, coaches, staff, and their families are safe and accounted for. The statement ends with a thanks to local law enforcement and first responders who were on scene. Meanwhile, the 49ers, they're on the search for a new defensive coordinator just days after their loss in the Super Bowl. San Fran fired D.C. Steve Wilks on Wednesday after only one season with the team. The 49ers ranked third with 17.5 points per game allowed this season. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said that he will consider both internal and external candidates for the position. Wilks came to the 49ers after a stint as interim head coach of the Panthers in 2022. There's big Yankee news here. The Yankees are adding another arm. The Bronx Bombers announced on Wednesday that they have signed right-hander Lou Trevino to a 1-year Major League contract for the 24 season with a club option for the 2025 season. To make room on the 40-man roster, the Yanks placed outfielder Jason Dominguez on the 60-day injured list, recovering from Tommy John surgery. And Syracuse has won 2 out of 3. Their 16-9 Orange visit Georgia Tech on Saturday night. Well, I'm very eager to get back to Dr. Tim Delmedico at Revive Soft Wave Therapy on Genesee Street in Utica. The groundbreaking therapy has been helping my foot and tendon issues that I really didn't know the extent of what I had going on there until I went and saw Dr. Tim. I always just thought it was irritation after doing any activities such as running or on the Peloton bike, but he discovered some issues, and we are working on it. It's not invasive, and it's free from pills and injections, and one of the things he told me was, with the pills and injections, it's only masking the signal to your brain, you know, making you feel like the pain has gone away, but it doesn't actually fix the problem. It doesn't heal what's ailing you. This Revive Soft Wave Therapy really does. It's so effective it's used by NFL teams, the Cleveland Clinic and the Mayo Clinic. The cutting-edge technology developed in Germany isn't limited to common pain areas. It addresses neuropathy, plantar fasciitis, carpal tunnel syndrome, and more. Then the treatment is a swift, quick thing. It's 3 minutes and you're done per treatment, and it boasts an outstanding 90% success rate. It works through high-speed sound waves, stimulating blood flow and stem cells to the impacted area, which promotes natural healing. So if you've exhausted all other options in pursuit of relief, you want to maybe avoid surgery, call Revive Soft Wave Therapy. Don't let pain dictate your life when there is a solution available. Reach out to Dr. Tim, 315-725-8427. That's 315-725-8427. Or visit reviveutica.com. That's reviveutica.com to reclaim a life free from debilitating pain. And you can take that step towards a pain-free future today.
All right, a couple things. This weekend, the Pioneers, we'll start with the Comets, are home Saturday night at the Adirondack Bank Center. The Pioneers, it's their last 2 regular season games of the season, and they'll be playing Arcadia. Arcadia, by the way, is... This should be 2 big wins for Utica, although you can't look at it that way. But Arcadia is 3-11-4 in the conference. They're 7-12-4 overall. And the games are scheduled for Friday night, 7 p.m. at the Adirondack Bank Center. And then on Saturday at 2 p.m. at the Adirondack Bank Center. And then do you know the playoffs, the UCHC tournament gets underway on Wednesday.
Wow.
So right into it.
Playoff?
So the playoffs will be Wednesday and Saturday. The semifinals are Saturday, with the finals scheduled for Saturday, March 2nd. And I believe UCHC has an automatic berth into the tournament now.
Yeah, you are right.
Okay, so that's a big one, important one for Utica to win and head into the NCAA tournament. And then the Comets, as we said, will be playing on Saturday night. Syracuse playing this weekend.
Yeah, 5:45.
Is it going to be a game where
5:30 on the CW?
They continue their awesome play, or do they get back to the Syracuse of old?
I think they continue to be the new Syracuse.
We'll see. We'll see.
But to tell you something, there's a hot team down in Hamilton, Colgate.
Colgate's looking really good, right?
Yeah. They're on the national TV spotlight on Monday.
And, of course, Colgate wins down there. They get an automatic berth into the NCAA tournament.
Well, if they win, they'll be the number one seed, and the tournament will be held in the rest of the tournament will be held in Hamilton.
Will be held at Colgate.
Yeah, and that's on CBS Sports Network if they get that far.
And if they win that tournament, then they get an automatic bid into the NCAA.
From what I've early seen from Joe Lenardi, he's got them at a 14 seed, better than last year.
Okay. Wow. Let's see what happens there. Got a break coming up. Marijuana. Jerry the J-Man Joyner talking about the fact that it looks like marijuana is now reaching the criteria of reclassification when it comes to drug. And he's saying he believes it will be downgraded in terms of classification, a lower risk drug. We'll speak with him about that later on in the hour. Tim Julian, former Utica mayor, talking about now he's on the legislature, Oneida County legislature. He is the minority leader. And Tim, tax rates, the increases, the budget, and more. Who's at fault? Is Galimi doing the right thing? We'll get Tim's take on all of this coming right up at 7:13 at WIBX.
Pure Talk believes in American values and that free should mean exactly that, free. Well, switch to Pure Talk today and you'll get a free Samsung 5G smartphone. No 4-line requirement, no activation fees, just a Samsung that's built to last with a rugged screen, quick charging battery, and top-tier data security. Now, qualifying plans start at just $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, and, of course, mobile hotspot. Now, Pure Talk will connect you to the most dependable 5G network in America for half the price of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. The average family saves close to $1,000 a year. So let Pure Talk's expert U.S. customer service team help you make the switch today. It's simple, it's fast, it's easy. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, claim your eligibility for your free brand new Samsung 5G smartphone, and start saving on wireless today. Again, from your phone, dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, and switch to my cell phone company, Pure Talk.
Don't be left out in the cold this winter. Call Tri-County Heating and Air Conditioning for your free furnace estimate. Smart folks choose Rude, energy-efficient heating equipment for their home. Call Tri-County Heating and Air Conditioning at 315-829-4100, 315-829-4100, or visit their website at tri-countyheating.com. Turn that thermostat down with your Rude, high-efficiency furnace and stay warm this winter. 315-829-4100 or tri-countyheating.com.
Life insurance. What's your excuse for putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think your work coverage is enough? There's a lot of excuses for putting off life insurance, but one big reason why you shouldn't. If the unexpected were to happen to you, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' tuition, and all the other bills? In a time of grief, the last thing you would want is for your family to have to sell the house and struggle to survive financially. At Ethos, we could get you covered in just 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Rates can increase the longer you wait, so no more excuses. Take 10 minutes today and discover the modern way to get the life insurance coverage you need. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. Well, you wonder why I always
celebrate the man in black and his greatest song.
I fell into a burning
Johnny Cash, live on screen.
of a sleeping city sidewalk.
Experience his legendary voice with a live band and singers.
Coming down.
Sunday, March 10th, 7 p.m., presented by Broadway Utica at the Stanley Theater. For tickets, visit BroadwayUtica.org.
At Target, our aisles tell stories of everyday Black joy. The same joy that can be found in our new Black History Month collection. Like feeling empowered with the teas and mugs from legendary Roots. Or seeing the beauty of Black culture through the art of Winnie Weston. Bring more Black joy to your day with an affordable collection that embraces it. Available now at Target.com/Black Beyond Measure.
America's Greatest Heart Run and Walk is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. The WIBX Heart Radiothon started the whole thing, and we're going back to our traditional date of March 1st, and back to our traditional location, Utica University. Doctors from Slocum-Dixon Medical Group will share ways we can stay healthy. Treadmill challengers will face off against each other. Red Cap ambassadors will share their stories, and we'll have special incentives to thank you for donating. Be sure and tune in.
Hello, America. It's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you don't have Consumer Cellular yet, now is the perfect time to switch and save. For a limited time, new customers can get wireless service for as low as $15 a month for your first year. Yep, the same exact nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for $15 a month for an entire year. What are you waiting for? Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and use code RADIO15.
See consumercellular.com/firstyear15 for promotional details.
When you order food for work on EasyCater.com, we've got your back with 24/7 support to make sure everything goes right. Confirming with the restaurant, guiding drivers when they need delivery instructions, making sure the food arrives on time and is ordered. But if there's a problem,
thanks for calling EasyCater.
Call us anytime, day or night, and we'll answer in seconds. Because food for work has to work, and we're right here to make sure it does. 100,000 restaurants, one platform. Order 24/7 at EasyCater.com.
For a limited time at Mattress Express, qualified buyers will get 60 months to pay on any purchase $1,500 or higher with no money down. That includes all brands of mattresses in the store and massage chairs. See store for details.
The Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills is accepting new patients. The Falcon Clinic is the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic. They're accepting new patients right now, and if you're in need of a family doctor or if you have an issue, I like to say Dr. Shemileski is just incredibly thorough and leaves nothing, no stone unturned. Which is really important when you're trying to figure out what is ailing you. And there's an osteopathic element to this, which means you use your own body and your own health and your own conditioning to be able to help yourself. And that plays a role and can mean less medicine. And you know what the reality is? You get one pill, and then you have a side effect. They give you another pill to take care of that side effect, and so on and so on. If we could reduce the medicine, that would just be the greatest thing in the world. It's the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. If you're in need of a new family doctor, Dr. Shemileski, Dr. Zielinski are both accepting new patients right now. Counseling, even acupuncture with Dr. Kosminski, other physicians, all under one roof at the Falcon Clinic, the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic. The Falcon Clinic. Call 315-507-4751. The Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, the world's going to pot. Literally, right? It kind of is. Marijuana has a lower potential for abuse than other drugs that are subjected to the same restrictions, with scientific support for its use as a medical treatment. Researchers from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration say in documents supporting its reclassification as a Schedule III substance. Now, I don't know what in the hell that means, but J-Man would. Jerry Joyner is the J-Man. He's on the line right now. J-Man, good morning.
Good morning.
Of course, Jerry is a leading industry expert when it comes to marijuana and host of a TV show and podcast called Weed and Whiskey. What's your favorite whiskey?
I like TX.
PX.
Never heard of it.
What is that?
Well, TX is it's a blended whiskey that's made down here in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
Recently got acquired by one of the big French distributor. Got a beautiful distillery over in Fort Worth that overlooks the city, and it's a real smooth, nice whiskey.
P as in Paul, X as in Xavier.
Oh no, T is in Texas. TX.
TX. That makes all the sense. Yeah, TX. Wild. And it's now been picked up by a French company.
Yeah, they got out I guess 2 years ago.
Okay.
Penrod bought them out.
Got it. All right.
Real nice success story.
Hey, what do you think about the declassification as a lower risk drug, marijuana? What do you think?
Well, I think rescheduling marijuana from 1 to 3 certainly helps the industry, but that doesn't help the big underlying problem. The illicit market, the black market of marijuana products is 3 times the size of the legal business, and it's a big problem, and it's getting bigger every day.
How many states is it illegal? Not legal, but how many states is marijuana illegal, recreational?
From a recreational or adult use standpoint, so we take 50 states less the 24 that are, what does that give us, 26?
Yeah.
You guys up in New York, 2016, I think, is when you enacted the medical marijuana, and then 2021, y'all went adult use. So.
Yeah, but the dispensaries are still not open as far as state run.
Slow-moving, very slow-moving.
One thing that's interesting up here, J-Man, is that the Oneida Indian Nation, on their land right across from the casino, has just opened a dispensary, and when they do things, they always do things big.
Yeah, it's quite big, and they're all different strains and flavors, and I don't know. I'm confused by it all. But the smells are different.
It's like a Willie Nelson song. It's all gone to pot, whether we like it or not.
You're right. That's very right. And speaking of Willie Nelson, I wonder, is it better to so. We spent decades telling people not to smoke. Do not smoke because it causes lung cancer. And now, all of a sudden, we've made smoking marijuana legal. What is different between cigarettes and marijuana and lung cancer? And is it safer then to do the edibles as opposed to smoking and bringing that into your lungs?
Well, you asked me a 2-part question there, so I'll answer the one about the lung parts with a Willie story.
Yeah.
Willie's lung collapsed over in Maui in the, I believe it was 83, 84, somewhere around that. He was smoking 3 or 4 packs of Chesterfields a day.
Oh my!
And yeah, and so they got him well and fixed, and he took that pack of Chesterfields, rolled up 20 joints, threw the cigarettes out, put the joints in there. But at 90 years old, he'll be 91 this April.
It's unbelievable.
Wow. He doesn't really smoke or vape anymore, but he certainly does a lot of edibles.
Okay.
So there was a,
So to clarify, you feel edibles are safer than smoking?
I certainly believe that edibles are safer than smoking. There's differences because the edibles, it takes longer for a person to get the effect from the psychotropic effect, whereas the smoking is the fastest way to ingest that THC and feel the effects of it. You know what's coming on strong, guys, is drinking weed.
I saw that. Yeah, they're.
I couldn't keep that can lit, man. I kept lighting it up, and I couldn't get the can to stay lit. But I've been using cannabis for 50 years. On 4/20, which is my birthday, I will be 64 years old, and have been pretty much a daily user of cannabis for a half a century. Myself, I'm doing a lot more gummies, and now that these beverages are available, than smoking, just because I'm older and in my lungs. I still enjoy it. but I don't do it nearly as much.
So there's
by the way, how quickly does the drinking come into? Is the drinking faster? Probably not any faster than than eating a piece of cookie or something.
Well, this is, it's all that scientific stuff kind of over old J-Man's head, but the nano-emulsion in the methodology of the way they infuse the THC into the seltzer or tonic or drink has about a 10-minute onset, where a gummy could take 30 minutes, even an hour before it really kicks in. So it'd be kind of like drinking a beer, guys, and most of these manufacturers, there's one coming out, Buzz Me Up. The guy that was the Wingstop founder, Antonio Swad, he's gotten in the legal weed business. He got a drink called Buzz Me Up. It's got THC and caffeine in it.
Wow!
And in 10 minutes, you get to feel the effects of those, and it's low dose, so it's like drinking beer.
Yeah,
drink a couple of those, and you're still functioning.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe that there's an apple orchard that does a lot of products. They're responsible for 1911 hard cider. And some of their
I think they have
lines
something coming out.
They have it already. You go to a concert, and there's.
I think the FX Matt Brewery is doing one. Fred Matt's been
There's
talking
over
about
400 brands, guys. I've got a little TV network, so it's fortunate for me that a lot of them send them to me. Say, hey, would you put this on your show? 400 different brands.
Wow!
And these brands have multiple varietals. Both in flavors, both in sizes. So when we talk about cannabis, marijuana, weed, whatever you want to call it, it's really changed. It's not nearly as much people smoking as there are using these new methods of ingestion, especially with people that maybe did this 20 or 30 years ago, and I don't want to smoke now, but I sure want to eat one of these gummies.
I have a couple. Are you okay on time?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I got one at 7:10, so
okay.
Keep me as long as you want.
All right. I just need a couple more minutes. Mike says, if marijuana becomes legal across the country, will the illicit facilities go away, similar to what happened when Prohibition stopped? I really don't hear much about people buying moonshine today, although they do have moonshine in the liquor stores.
They do.
And they got a TV show about moonshine, but certainly, Mike, I think that the 70% of the weed business that's still illegal, and we're talking billions of dollars, okay, $23 billion to $30 billion is what they're saying the legal market is, and about 70 or 80 is the illicit market. And one of the reasons is why I can buy an ounce of illicit marijuana for half the cost of what I go legally buy it for because of the taxes and the markup that those people need to make. And so it's both a problem for what they call the legacy people, the people who have been in the marijuana business for decades trying to get in the legal business.
Yeah.
If you go in the legal business, you have to make a huge investment and make half the profit. Not much motivation for that.
Yeah, and that's the problem we're seeing in New York. New York is having a major problem with that.
And I think the other thing that it does, if they made it legal, besides reducing or eliminating that illegal market, those products oftentimes are facsimiles of the good products. They've got Dorito infused with THC and Cheetos that are illegal packaging. It comes in through that market. It gets into some of the mainstream corner stores often, and those things aren't tested. They could have hard metals and things. So I think people have to be cautious with the flood of things that are becoming available. Make sure it's got a certificate of authenticity on the back and that QR code. And again, the thing with so many people trying to get in the business up there in New York has created a huge problem for y'all.
It has, because you don't know. You need, if you're going to be buying it, you better be buying it from somebody you know. Versus some of these pop-up places where, especially with the problem with fentanyl right now. This guy, some guy in the 540, he's in Virginia, I think. A pop brownie at our dispensary is $20. A brownie for $20. Wow.
Well, you got to break that brownie up.
How many servings could that brownie do for people? My wife ate an infused cinnamon roll, and she lost 2 days of productivity. She was unaware. She was hungry, okay? And she goes, "Oh, that cinnamon roll looks great." And they're like, "I think that's infused." It was enough for 8 people. So, again, you have to be really cautious with people making products. I did some talks about with the Super Bowl, these infused buffalo wings. Well, if you get too much sauce on, somebody's got a buffalo wing sauce that's infused with THC. you coat your wings with that, and
that's unbelievable.
Only eat one if you're going to try them. Don't eat a handful. You know, a couple hours later, you can't drive.
God forbid, if they start doing THC potato chips, we're in big trouble because you can't eat just one.
They have 10 THC chicken wings. Is that Joe Montana playing in the Super Bowl?
Do you remember that? You remember that cop that called into 911 and he reported that he was dead? Him and his wife were both dead.
Because they had the edible. Yeah.
Because they ate brown. At some point during the conversation, he did admit to the 911 person that he'd consumed a pot brownie.
Oh my God!
And he was, would you say at that point, tripping, right? Badly, he thought he was dead. Yeah. What are you gonna do? Here's a question for you. Another one. I have a couple. I got a lot of people asking you questions right now. Is the classification going to be the same category as drugs like Valium, Xanax, Tylenol, and codeine? Tylenol with codeine.
If it went from 1, which is where it's at now, which is the same as cocaine and heroin, to 3, one of the things that this does is it helps the legitimate operators with something called the 280E provision in the IRS tax code. People in the legal cannabis business can't write off their ordinary business expenses like advertising. Okay,
right.
There's a huge difference between a business that can write off their normal operating expenses, so it makes them even less profitable. So that's something that would really be a big step. But to me, it doesn't do anything to eliminate, which it's the DEA and the other law enforcement agencies are saying how big the illicit market still is.
Yeah.
And I think that would be the key. And I think we'll see more about this coming up as the election is coming up in November. I think marijuana, with 70% of Americans, according to a Gallup and a Pew recent survey, thinks that adult use cannabis should be legal. And so that's weed's bringing America back together, guys.
Could you imagine, right?
All you got to do up on Capitol Hill is get them all in a room, get them some of those edibles or those drinks, and they'll just get along just fine.
Get him on Willie's bus.
Get him on. I'm thinking about Willie Nelson is going to be, and he's still performing.
Well, how about this?
90 years old.
In a very recent and relevant story, I remember at Toby Keith's concert, rest in peace, Toby, he had a song called "Weed with Willie," and it's basically I'll never
smoke weed with Willie again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
can't keep up. They're not able to keep up. And then one final one. I cannot believe the amount of pot smell when I'm outside with cars driving by.
Yeah.
I've got to believe there's a ton of pot-impaired drivers out there. How do you feel about marijuana and driving?
Well, I'm a plain talker and a straight shooter, and I've done that often in my life. Now, I never really drink and drive, but I think that everyone needs to make sure that what they're doing is they're being safe with what they do. Some instances, I think that's wrong. That people should be out riding around, and like I said, I've done it before.
Yep.
I do it now, but I don't drive. I let somebody else drive and keep them in a different section of the car.
Okay.
The windows rolled down. No different than people consuming alcohol.
Okay.
We know that millions of Americans drink while they drive, and millions of Americans are going to be consuming cannabis. Let's just make sure if you're doing that, you're not impaired too much if you're doing it. But there's a problem with, many law enforcement agencies are now removing the smell or odor of marijuana as a reason for the probable search cause, which has always been, the police will say I smell pot.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But that brings up the same question. I could use cannabis today, and tomorrow I could use none, get pulled over, and if I had to do a urine test or a blood test, it's going to show THC in my system. But I'm not impaired from it anymore.
Yep.
So there are some companies that are making a breathalyzer type device, just like they use for alcohol, for cannabis, where they can see what is that level, how recently it had been used
in your system. Okay.
We don't want to penalize somebody for using something that's legal that they're not under the influence of. but we also want to keep the bad actors off the street.
Search for his TV show and podcast called Weed and Whiskey. Jerry J-Man Joyner. If you want to try a new whiskey that you haven't tried before, TX, as in Texas, is a smooth whiskey, says the J-Man, and we appreciate your time. We will do it again. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Anytime.
Have a great day. Pretty good. Interesting stuff. It's all very
always
it's
a joy
whole
to have
stinking
him on.
new world. A whole new world. Now, this is Rob saying that many police officers would disagree with what he was just saying. He did say you shouldn't be drinking, you shouldn't be smoking weed
or consuming
marijuana
cannabis of any kind.
and driving. He did say that, although he was all over the place because he said he does. However, where this does become a problem is, let's say they're testing you and you had consumed something or smoked it the night before and it's still in your system. Well, you can't ticket somebody for that, can you?
I think you.
No,
I think
you can't do that.
No, you can't. But I think people try.
Well, it's possible. No, I swear to you, I just hit a skunk. I'm telling you, I just hit a skunk. I got a break. Coming up, former Mayor Tim Julian. He is the minority leader with the United County Legislature, making his way in right now. And we're going to get his take on this whole budget thing in Utica. First, though, let's do Hobica's free money question of the day. What caller number are you looking for?
7.
Seventh caller, and what are we playing with today?
2.
$200. Hobica's not going to be happy. $200. Chance for $200. Caller 7 right now at 315-736-0186 at WIBX.
For a limited time at Mattress Express, qualified buyers will get 60 months to pay on any purchase $1,500 or higher with no money down. That includes all brands of mattresses in the store and massage chairs. See store for details.
At Target, our aisles tell stories of everyday Black joy. The same joy that can be found in our new Black History Month collection. Like feeling empowered with the teas and mugs from legendary Roots. Or seeing the beauty of Black culture through the art of Winnie Weston. Bring more Black joy to your day with an affordable collection that embraces it. Available now at Target.com/Black Beyond Measure.
Get ready for this week's half-off Thursday deal with SeizeTheDeal.com. Score your half-off gift certificate to Babes at Harbor Point today, starting at 8 a.m. Get $50 for $25 with Seize the Deal's half-off Thursday. Babes at Harbor Point is the best brunch spot in town. Bottomless mimosas and a full brunch menu. Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Online at BabesUtica.com. Get your half-off Thursday gift certificates today from Babes at Harbor Point. Make sure you hurry because they sell out fast at SeizeTheDeal.com.
It seems like everywhere you look right now, someone is sick. This year, prepare your family for airborne invaders like bacteria, pollen, and yes, germs with Navage Nasal Care. Navage flushes ultra-pure, refreshing saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril. Navage sucks out viruses, dust, and other airborne particles, all the stuff that gets trapped in your nose, making you miserable. Don't get caught empty-handed this winter. Get Navage, the drug-free solution that helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. Even better, Navage is HSA, FSA eligible, so Navage is a great way to spend those funds before they expire. Don't wait a minute longer. Buy Navage today and you'll breathe easier knowing you're putting your funds to good use. Navage is available online at Navage.com or Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The Fed is setting a digital dollar control trap. The new FedNow system might sound modern and convenient, but the truth is it's all about surveillance and control. Don't be fooled. Secure your assets right now with something Washington cannot manipulate. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon, former advisor to Donald Trump. And in these times of uncertainty, I believe the best way to defend your savings is to use tangible assets, which is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group, because gold has a 5,000-year track record as the ultimate guardian of wealth. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SAFEGUARD to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, so text SAFEGUARD to the number 989898. That's SAFEGUARD to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. There's no obligation or purchase required.
Message and data rates may apply.
Hello, everyone in Central New York. This is Dave Letterman, your old TV pal. Remember me? I'm supposed to say something witty and funny here about Bill Keeler, but I've got nothing. Ever see a picture of this guy? That's a joke in itself. Anyhow, here's Keeler on WIBX.
Hey, listen, in 2 weeks we'll be broadcasting from a remote studio far away from here as they're gutting this studio, getting rid of all the equipment, and I think they're just going to throw everything out, to be honest with you. And all brand new studios are being built, and they say it'll take about a week for that process to be done. But during that week long, or maybe a little longer, we'll be, so if you have an empty room in your house and you need a couple of guys there in the morning at like 5:30, 5 o'clock, call on us. We'll
be there.
We'll come to your house. All right, let's do Hobica's free money question of the day. Joseph and Andrew Hobica at 315-724-1600. On the line right now is Eric in Utica. Hello, Eric. Good morning.
Hi, Bill. How you doing?
Good. You ready? You know the rules, right?
Yep.
7 seconds. Pick an answer to make it work. And I'm going to tell you this answer I'll accept anything plus or minus 3.
Wow.
For this answer.
Generous.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus or minus 3. So, for instance, if the answer was 50 and you said 47 or 53, that would all be within the, right? Plus or minus 3. Okay, here we go. Here's your question. We were just talking with the J-Man about marijuana and the legalization of weed. And here we go. The comedy horror Munchies hit movie theaters in what year? Ready? Go. Pick a year.
1987.
He said 87.
What do we do? The buzzer hit.
I mean, he got it. I mean, it was kind of like the tie goes to the runner. The clock hit 0, but the ball was snapped. I don't
think so. I can't. I can't only because of Google. That's what Hobica's telling us. Because of Google, you can't. They got to be within the 7 seconds.
Did he Google it?
He hit it on the nose. It's 87. Oh, Eric. What do you say?
That's okay.
What do you say, Mr. Julian?
Well, we'll put the onus on Mr. Julian.
Well, look, isn't there another question you could throw out there and say, hey, okay,
Give him another shot.
Give him another question?
Yeah.
Hobica will love this. All right. I'll give you, but you got to get your answer in before the buzzer, all right?
Got it.
I mean, we're going, this is only because of Tim Julian.
Unprecedented territory.
This is unprecedented.
Mr. Julian.
But we're going to give you, but you've...
Make me proud.
You've reduced from 200 to 100. That'll appease Hobica, okay? Just let me try to get through this, for God's sakes. All right, here we go. Are you ready? This is your question. You have,
yep,
go for it. 7 seconds to answer this. What is the name of the significant other of cartoon character Bugs Bunny? Ready, go.
Babs.
Is Bugs Bunny warm and fuzzy with Babs?
Isn't it Lola?
Her name was Lola.
Yeah.
She was a showgirl.
That
That's
was
right.
30 years ago.
All right. Well, listen, we are going to give you the food. Listen, hey, Eric, we gave you a second shot. That's pretty good.
I appreciate it.
All
You got to learn to type a little bit faster. than
That's
that.
right. You
I
must.
know.
You must
If
have.
it was my daughter, she probably would have had it in 2
Oh,
seconds.
these,
but-
and I'm going to tell you, they do it on their freaking phone. What they do with their thumbs is unbelievable. Like,
Yeah, I
how
know.
do you do that? All right.
I have no clue.
Listen, the Utica All-in-One Food and Fun. We're just going to pretend you didn't Google anything, Eric. So just that is my answer to Hobica. The Utica All-in-One Food and Fun card, however, is a wonderful gift. It's a $25 gift card, good at Aquavino, Babes, 72, Taylor and the Cook, or any of the concession stands at the Adirondack Bank Center, or Cookies Q and Creamery as well. Stand by. Davey's going to hook you up, Eric. Thank you, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right, stand by. I have to tell you, Andrew, I would have been with you 1,000%.
I know.
Had he not nailed the answer exactly, right?
So he probably should have.
Which is why he should have said, I don't know, 86.
Yeah.
We wouldn't
Well,
have.
he
We
was
wouldn't
close.
have thought. Yeah. But 87. It was March of 87, and here are the actors, according to Wikipedia.
According to IMDb.
In studio right now is the former mayor and now the minority leader in the Oneida County Legislature, Tim Julian. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How was everyone?
Good. So,
The other day, I got to tell you first. The other day, I got a mailer at my house, and I thought it was a encyclopedia of every property in the city of Utica and the surroundings.
Ever available.
And it turned out it was just every property sold by Andrew Dominio.
It was.
Yes.
It was a beautiful publication.
It really was.
It's a beautiful publication.
Does River Hills
Thank you for him.
print those for you?
No,
How does that
I've
get
got
done?
I got a special deal with a special company.
Okay,
God,
all
it was
right.
cheap. I think it was about $17 just to mail it.
High, a thick stock, high gloss.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
think about what a political mailer would have cost.
Oh, yeah. My gosh.
Man.
Listen, who needs political mailers?
That's right. Who needs that? All right. Okay. You obviously are looking. I mean, you're a property owner in Utica. You're looking at 16.5% proposed. Who's at fault here? Do you support the mayor on this? What's your take on all of this?
Look, I think certainly a few things as I've been looking at this and talking and hearing things and stuff like that. And first off, 0% tax increases aren't cheap. Okay,
There's a cost.
If you think about it, over the amount of time that has gone by, and what your costs as a consumer, as a person going into a grocery store, as a person going to put gas in your vehicle, as a person even going to buy a vehicle,
buying a tomato, for God's sake.
as a person who may be looking to employ somebody or hire somebody or
costs
any
have
of
gone
these
up.
things.
Yeah.
Costs have gone up extraordinarily over the period of time that we've been getting these 0% increases. Even this year, minimum wage went to $15 an hour.
Yeah, it just seemed impossible. Surplus 0% increase over and over and over again. It seemed impossible.
It is very difficult without really a new source of revenue coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, the sales tax did go up somewhat. Yes, all these things were going up, but I look at it as and I always kind of refer back to when I first walked in and what went on. I mean, I had followed at that time Ed Hanna, who stated he would never raise taxes. Raise taxes.
Right.
0, 0, 0, 0. We always have zeros, no matter what. He never did.
Yeah.
Along the way, he sold the water authority and put $10 million, $11 million into the city's coffers. He laid off, I think, 54 firefighters along the way, which
so instead of revenue, he was getting rid of costs.
The New York State retirement system asked for a zero contribution midway through that. He got an increase in CDBG funding along the way. He did not. I had 4 union contracts that had not been settled. So, and by the way, no money set aside to do that settling of those contracts. So,
but didn't you get to sell the world's largest watering can to the zoo?
I gave
you
that
gave
to
that
the
to the zoo. Okay.
The zoo was not buying.
Yeah,
they were,
I didn't think so.
They
weren't?
They were a benefactor of that.
They weren't one of many bidders going after it?
And look, they something that they took and made a
they made something out of
made
that.
Something really nice out of it.
I'll never forget the day you called and said, you're not going to believe this, but we just had this giant watering can. We don't know what it is or what to do with it.
Yeah.
No idea it was coming.
There's no planter big enough in this city to water these.
Well, the scary part, and you know, and not to take away from you know, what Mr. Gleam's dealing with, or Mayor Gleam's dealing with, but you know, he talks about how these water slides aren't going to happen, that we're prepared. Well, this watering can was just the tip of the iceberg. That was like, I don't know, $12,000 or $15,000 to make that, but the presentation that was going to be along the parkway was probably going to be about $250,000 or $300,000.
Is that where he was putting it?
He was going to put it there and have like a reflecting pool that this thing was going to spray into. And I was like, no, we can't. We can't do that. We certainly can't do that along the parkway.
Even the water park thing with the Liberty Bell downtown in Franklin Square was a car wash. But anytime the wind would just a nice cool breeze would come up, it would take the water and it would splash all the cars.
You know, my DPW commissioner, the late great Billy Schrader, who was just tremendous guy. He would laugh because he would tell me these stories, how Hannah wanted to see that fountain from his window at City Hall, which if you think about the buildings that has to go over the top of. And he's like, I want it higher. And it's just, so, you know, look.
I can't see it. There are no fires in this city. They're driving by
at
with
the
those
water.
God-blessed sirens blaring just to annoy me.
Yep.
Those were wild days.
Interesting times, to say the least. Yeah, that was cool.
So with all of that, everything you experienced, and you adopted a very difficult situation.
Yeah, no, and as we're finding out, as did Mayor Galimi, adopted a very difficult situation. It's not for lack of trying on his part. And look, nobody in the world wants to come out and say, we got to raise taxes 16.5%. Yeah. You'd be foolish if you said you wanted
somebody
to do
had
that.
actually said that. So he's using this to be able to raise taxes and blame it on the previous administration. There's not a mayor in the world that wants to come out and say double-digit tax
you don't want to raise taxes to begin with. However, you know, then you have different schools of thoughts. I was at a meeting the other night, and people were saying, well, why can't you raise taxes a couple % a year?
I just read that.
And instead of doing this whole big thing. Well, you do that. They don't like that either.
Right.
Trust me. If you go and say, okay, 2% this year. Well, why is it got to be 2? If it can be 2, it can be 0.
We just had 2% last year. What the hell?
And that question was brought up to Mike yesterday, the mayor yesterday, and he said, "This is. I feel like this without cuts. This has to be done, or we're going to be in trouble."
Yeah.
And then everybody wants to cut. But no one wants their stuff cut.
Right.
That's part of the problem.
Well, you know, and let's look at that and let's talk about these things. I mean, people say, well, cut public safety. And you know, then the other side is like, no, cut public safety. And, you know, the reality is public safety is a very expensive insurance policy. And at your house, you have an insurance policy, correct? You have insurance on your house. You have insurance on your car. And in the greatest possible year, you don't use it.
Right.
And this is what public safety is also. Now, I happen to be kind of a witness and watched evolve the traffic stop last Tuesday night on Oneida Street where, you know, the 4 guns were taken out of a car with 4 juveniles.
It's unbelievable.
And there was probably, I think, at any given time, 9 police cars there.
Yeah.
And now, you know, you got a city of you know, about 16 to 17 square miles, and you've got 9 of your police cars on one city block.
Yeah.
That just tells you that, you know, we need this type of public safety.
And you really need, you're talking about juveniles. If you send one car, that could turn into something really, really bad.
Really bad, really quickly.
Yeah.
And you know, this is exacerbated by the fact that we're having a difficult time hiring these people. And again, not to keep referring back to this is the good old days, although I guess I'm old enough to say that type of stuff. But back in, you know, the early 2000s, if we had a police test, we would basically rent out a wing of MBCC, and we would have 200 to 300 people showing up to take a police test. Now you're getting 50 and 60.
Yeah.
You know, that's also
and all the agencies are looking. Everybody's looking.
You know, the county. The county jail is 90-plus officers short. A great paying job, something that if you walked in there and you passed all the, you know, the background checks and everything else, you could probably be up and working there within a couple of weeks.
And you're walking right into a career, not a job.
You're walking into a career with a retirement and health insurance and all those things that people should want and people did want at one time, and now it just seems to be.
I don't know what happened.
Gosh, I'm not quite sure. What do we got?
Steve Houck saying, I was working nights the first weekend after Hannah put the fountain in. A couple of kids poured a whole bottle of laundry detergent in it and made Jenna see a mountain of socks.
Nice. See that?
So basically,
it's difficult. You can't. I mean, to cut public safety would not make any sense whatsoever. On top of that, I think we've got grant positions that are in place now that if we started to cut public safety, we would then be responsible to pay for those grant positions.
Right.
So you're laying off for a zero-sum game. Basically.
Nothing is simple. Nothing is that easy, quick. But
DPW has been cut to shreds. I mean,
already.
And when people talk about DPW, and I always kind of like, oh, they don't do this. They are so thin, and and operating with equipment that needs improvement. I mean, you're doing 225 miles of streets,
right? Think about it,
and trying to do that in one night. I mean, how long does it take you to shovel your driveway or snowblow your driveway and things like that? And these guys,
not to mention,
things like that.
If I can say, and I know that Palmieri hates the fact thinks that I'm. Anytime he's not here, I'm critical of him, and it just seems to work out that way. I'm afraid. But what annoyed me you're doing these sweeps, and you're stepping over a giant pothole, stepping over a drainage system that is filled with dirt and collapsed concrete, stepping over a bad sidewalk. I guess the homeowner is responsible for that. To go up to tell a property owner, hey, you better fix up your property. Yeah. Seems kind of like there's something wrong with it.
I'll go a little more visceral than that. I had a conversation with him during a parade that started in front of St. Elizabeth's Hospital this last year, and I pointed to it and I said, what are we doing with this?
Yeah.
What are we doing with this? Now, the federal government bestows you down $64 million. And here is a great opportunity to use that will have a lasting impact, that will increase the tax base, that will increase the visibility and all these other things that is necessary and needed along Genesee Street, your main artery going to and it was ignored. And it was ignored.
Well,
I look at
dog park now, and you've got a skateboard park.
And all these things that were put in, okay, they're fun, they're nice, they're neat, they add to the quality of life. They also add to the employment ranks that, again, we just discussed. You can't hire.
How are you going to maintain? How are you going to maintain these things?
You got to maintain it.
And you're not maintaining the parks and the programs we currently have.
Yeah.
For instance, there was a stairway that I think went up to the Eagle, or concrete stairway that went up. It was in terrible shape. So what do we do instead? You just pull it out. They took it out.
Pull it out, close it off,
and get rid of it. But you want every mayor seems to come in and say and want something new that they can say, I did that.
Right.
But wouldn't it be great to have a mayor who came in and said, I fixed that?
Yeah.
And look how good it looks today.
And
that's
the parks,
what we're looking for.
The parks have that Central New York Conservancy, the they call Green Utica or whatever they call it now. They changed the name, but I mean they've done a tremendous job, tremendous job using volunteers and raising money on their own of redoing these parks and bringing them back to some of their original glory. And
without them,
but they've done it. It's just beautiful. Go over to Proctor Park and look at some of these staircases and the fountain and things like that.
Who is and Proctor Park is really as an example of all of that. Who was the old guy that used to trim the trees?
Yes.
All on his own.
All on his own.
Yep.
You see him there. And
every day.
First time I saw him, I ran down and said, who the heck's cutting the trees? I mean, he had piles. It looked like beaver dams along the parkway.
He would just come out and do it.
I wish I could remember his name because it's worth a do. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But going back to the tax increase, I mean, 16.5% is tough. But I mean, if you look at again the cost of the public safety budgets alone take in or are more than what we take in property taxes. And I'm not picking on public safety. Believe me, it's necessary, it's important, but
it's expensive.
It's expensive, and people have to realize that. And you want this, and if you went in and said, okay, well, we're going to cut cops, people go crazy. If you said we're going to cut firefighters, people go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the balance that he's walking right now.
All the retirements on top of all that.
Crazy.
When
I got in, and again,
can you hang for a little? Let's do the news, and
let's do the news.
And I want to out of news. We'll get some more from Tim Julian, former mayor, of course, and now the minority leader with the Oneida County Legislature. News straight ahead at WIBX.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
A celebration and a mass shooting. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. One person is killed, 21 others shot, including 9 children, at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory rally. Police say 3 people are in custody. No word yet on a possible motive for the shootings. Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves.
We are working to determine if one of the three are the one that was in that video where fans assisted police.
Paul Contreras tackled one of the alleged shooters.
There was no hesitation. It was just that split-second reaction.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin has more.
Kansas City radio station KKFI taking to Facebook to say DJ and host Lisa Lopez Galvin was killed in the shooting at the Chiefs' Super Bowl victory parade. Posting, "This senseless act has taken a beautiful person from her family and this KC community." Police say 22 people were hit by gunfire.
We do have 3 persons detained.
Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves says the investigation has not yet determined a motive, noting they've recovered at least 1 firearm and are asking anyone with information or video of the incident to come forward. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
A top Republican opens up about a potential major security threat from Russia.
House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Turner taking the Biden administration by surprise, alerting Congress and the public to what he called a serious national security threat and calling on the White House to declassify it, quote, so that Congress, the administration, and our allies can openly discuss the actions necessary to respond. Members of Congress began rushing to the SCIF to view the material.
It's serious. Yes.
Sources tell Fox the threat is an emerging Russian military capability in outer space that the U.S. has been tracking for some time, denying Turner's suggestion that conversations with allies and partners haven't yet happened.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich reporting from the White House. Top congressional leaders are getting a briefing about that intelligence today. America's listening to Fox News.
If you have a bank account, pay attention. The U.S. banking system is once again under extreme stress, but there is an easy way to protect yourself. Gold. Contact Noble Gold Investments today and safeguard your family's financial future. As a thank you for opening a qualified account, they'll give you a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. Just use the promo code GOLD. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Pure Talk believes in American values and that free should mean exactly that, free. Well, switch to Pure Talk today and you'll get a free Samsung 5G smartphone. Now, qualifying plans start at just $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, and, of course, mobile hotspot. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, claim your eligibility for your free brand new Samsung 5G smartphone. Start saving on wireless today and switch to my cell phone company, Pure Talk.
Another poll finds President Biden.
Good morning, WIBX 950 News Time, 8:03. I'm Andrew Dominio. Right now, it's 18 degrees under mostly clear skies. Your full weather forecast is coming up. This update brought to you by the Stanley Center of the Arts, presenting Standards and Stories with Tony Danza, April 6th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale now through Ticketmaster. New York State Police were out on the roadways during Super Bowl weekend as part of their recent Stop DWI patrol. Officials announced Wednesday that over 100 individuals were arrested on DWI charges. There were also several tickets issued for various violations. In addition to the 139 DWI arrests, troopers issued a total of 6,876 tickets for various other violations, including speeding, distracted driving, seatbelt violations, and move-over law violations. That's down from last year when 8,311 tickets were issued and 141 people were arrested for DWI. In addition to the violations, state police investigated 245 crashes with 37 injuries. Luckily, there were no fatalities. A commission is going to be holding a vote in Albany today on a brand new set of congressional district maps for the Empire State. If those maps are approved, they'll be sent to the state legislature, who also must sign off on them. The exact layout of the maps and their changes have not been released to the public just yet. The goal is for these maps to be used for this year's elections. A teacher at an elementary school in Liverpool is suspended after being accused of abusing students. The Onondaga County District Attorney's Office says these 4 alleged incidents occurred at Elmcrest Elementary School. Students claim they were pushed, shoved, and even grabbed by the teacher. The sheriff's office and the school district are still looking into what exactly happened.
I want to comment on that, but I feel like whatever I say, I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Well, think about it.
Do you know that today you can't even the student could be this is New York State. These are New York State laws.
Mm-hmm.
The student could be like swinging and punching, and you can't physically put them on the ground. I mean, you are in a
you got to basically take it.
School. It's not teachers, but even administrators. You're placed in a very, very difficult position.
What's the difference between shoved and pushed?
Yeah, that's a good
They're pushed and shoved.
One arm, two arms.
I did not shove you. I pushed you.
That's it.
Yeah.
I lightly grabbed. Is that pulled? If you're grabbing,
that is a grabbing.
I pushed
That's a
and pulled
pulling.
you.
Yeah.
You got pushed and pulled.
Well, it's a very interesting story. I would like to know all of the story.
It's tough to be a teacher nowadays.
And is that teacher's fired or
suspended?
Suspended. Okay. Yep. All right.
Are there cameras in the classrooms?
I don't think so.
That's too bad.
And not all, because that could, just like with police officers, a body cam, in the beginning you heard a lot of police officers saying, that's invading on my privacy. At the same time, protecting their tails.
Sure.
Right? Because there's a video showing exactly what did happen. Davey.
Sure. Also in that story that Andrew just wrote in Liverpool, the principal was removed yesterday, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
And it's shaping up to be a record year for spending this Valentine's Day. That's according to the National Retail Federation. It says consumers plan to spend a total of $25.8 billion this year, the third highest in the survey's history. 62% of consumers ages 25 to 34 intend to celebrate this year, more than any other age group, and consumers spent exactly $185 each on average. That's nearly $8 more than the average Valentine's Day spending over the last 5 years.
I got to say, there's a story up on our site right now, WIBX950.com, that talks about the cost of a dozen roses delivered. And the price is actually, we're looking at all these the inflation, and we are paying a lot more for a lot of different items. But interestingly, supply and demand, it's less now for a dozen roses than it was 10 years ago, about $10 less. And I think a lot of that, we were talking earlier, has to do with you can get really nice roses at Aldi's and Hannaford and, Walmart. I think Walmart's like $8.97 for a dozen roses.
If you look at people working from home, I mean, you really don't need to have them delivered anymore.
You don't. That's exactly right. Everybody's home.
I'm going to go home.
That's exactly right. All right.
Some of these up along the way.
We have some inclement weather on the way.
Your weather forecast is brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint at the WIBX Weather Center. Today, increasing clouds turning windy into the afternoon. Wet snow developing late afternoon and evening. The ride home will be slick and slippery, a high of 36. Tonight, windy, colder, snow showers, a low of 27. And tomorrow, blustery, turning colder, leftover snow showers and flurries, a high of 32. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Right now, mostly clear skies, 18 degrees. It is 8:08. Sports brought to you by IBEW NECA 43 local contractors. The Syracuse Orange will play on Saturday. They have won two of the last three. The 16-9 Orange will visit Georgia Tech on Saturday night. The New York Yankees are adding another arm. The Bronx Bombers announced Wednesday they have signed right-hander Lou Trevino to a one-year Major League contract for the 2024 season with a club option for the 2025 season. The 49ers are on the search for a new defensive coordinator just days after their loss in Super Bowl 58. San Fran fired DC Steve Wilkes Wednesday after one season with the team. The 49ers ranked third with 17.5 points per game allowed this season. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said he will consider both internal and external candidates for the position. Wilkes came to the 49ers after a stint as interim head coach of the Panthers in 2022. To the NBA, the Warriors attempted to make a major splash at the trade deadline last week. ESPN reports Golden State made an unsuccessful bid to trade for Los Angeles Lakers superstar forward LeBron James. Neither the Lakers nor James were willing to consider the potential blockbuster that would pair up arguably two of the game's greatest players of all time. The Lakers and Warriors are 9th and 10th, respectively, in the Western Conference standings. And one of the biggest races of the NASCAR season begins with a qualifying race Thursday night. The duels at Daytona will set the 40-car starting lineup for the Daytona 500 Sunday. The duels consist of 60-lap races, which will determine the inside and outside rows of the race. The second qualifier is set to take place immediately after the end of the first race. It is.
What time does that start, Davey? Is that tonight?
6 p.m., right?
Yeah, last night they had the outside and in the pole and outside pole. Joey Logano and Michael McDowell.
Okay.
And then the rest of the field is going to be set after tonight.
All right, cool.
The race is at 2:30 on
2:30.
Sunday.
Listen, River Hills Properties, fastest growing real estate company in the area, #1 independent real estate agency in the region, #2 if you include the big chains. And as Andrew will tell you many times over, it's all about the extra services provided, the extra things that are done, the fact that when your house is shown, your listing agent is there to make sure it's ready to be shown, to be there to answer questions, turn on the lights, and make sure everything's locked up when everybody's done. And it just speeds up the process. It helps a potential buyer. It's helpful.
And it's not a foreign idea. Did you know that in the state of Maine, and there's an agent here locally who told me this because this person's dual license, that in the state of Maine you are legally obligated to be at your showing if you have a listing.
It's a requirement. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I like it just because, I've gone through medicine cabinets, okay, looking at houses. You want to know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, right.
I've not done that. Anyway, it's River Hills Properties in Barnaville, Little Falls, and Utica. Online, riverhillspropertiesllc.com. Why wouldn't you list with River Hills? Call 315-896-1009. Nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties. In studio right now, former mayor of Utica, which is why we have him in here. He's now the minority leader for the Oneida County Legislature, Tim Julian, who basically you're saying Mayor Galimi's in a tough spot.
Absolutely, he's in a tough spot, yes. And when we think about this, also, let's not forget about 1995 when then Mayor LaPolla won, or excuse me, I think it was 91. It's 91. Then Mayor LaPolla won after a 0% tax increase year and came back the next year with a 27% tax
27.
So,
wow.
We're not in uncharted territory here, but when you artificially hold the line low, for political expedience and say, well, I wasn't the guy who raised your taxes. I was the guy who made it so they had to raise your taxes.
We went 5 years, 10 years without a tax increase. Sure. It's nice to be able to say that. But
it's nice to be able to say that, but the reality is that you got to pay the piper. Again, costs have gone up. Everything has gone up. And if your expenses are going up, you're either cutting, and are you cutting too much? Yep.
Or you're putting yourself. You're using the fund balance.
I mean, look. Let's look at another one. Health insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, health insurance has gone up. How much has health insurance gone up over the last 5 years?
Yeah.
Over the last 6 years or 7 years.
How do you? I have somebody asking, how do you work through the tax cap? So they call it a 2% tax cap, when in reality it's really not a. It's not a carte blanche 2% tax cap.
Right. No, it's not a carte blanche. It's New York State had put that in place during the Cuomo administration, and then. They create this artificial floor, I guess, of this tax cap, and the council has to go along with it and vote with it.
Yeah.
And so I mean, so.
But they never even. And one of the things Bill Morehouse says is he was advising incremental tax increases each year, and Mayor Palmieri wouldn't have it.
Right.
Yeah, right. So what do you?
I mean, look. There's this will shake out.
Yeah.
This will shake out, and we'll be able to see where to point the finger of. Whether it's blame or just recognition or what have you along the way, or whatever. But this will shake out, and we will know the story. We have to listen for it because the story will probably not be as interesting as the number is right now.
Right. Well, and the number probably won't be as interesting as it is right now after the council gets done.
Well. Yes, I would think that there could be some opportunities to pare that down.
The
council has to look at it and not just slide the budget book back to the mayor and say, well, we think you can cut 4%. We think you can cut 6%.
Right,
we think
give them options.
Where do you do it? Where do you do it that will be palatable to you to sell to your constituency as well as yourself along the way? So I think that's something also because they have to be part of the process. And not just say it's too high. Do something.
And I got to say though, for taxpayers in Utica, it's got to be very frustrating when you saw all of this money coming in, and it was just being. What they did in Rome is the mayor's office came up with an entire plan that included private contributions as well.
Yep.
Came up with an entire plan. They did work on the hospital. They did work on things that had to be done. Then it was submitted to the council, and I think everything but one one of them passed. And whereas Mayor Palmieri just was like, all right, you each get $200,000 to spend. Right. Where do you think we're going with that? And you take a skateboard park, that you've now added a new expense going forward as one example.
A few
yeah.
expenses. You have to have one person sit there and pull out the push broom and run it and check kids in, and
or not to mention the liability of injury.
Liability is always a huge thing.
Yeah,
always a huge thing. We've dealt with that at the park.
Yeah, you're going to have to deal with insurance on
I mean,
that.
I believe there was talk about bringing snowmaking back to the Parkway. Well, you got a year like this. What are you making snow with?
Yeah,
you just an impossibility. I mean, there's a lot of money being spent at the reclamation and the makeover of Valley View, which probably needed a makeover and probably needed all these things, but did it go too far?
Right.
There's
and could it have gone somewhere else to alleviate economic issues?
Yeah, I mean, dog parks. I mean, great idea in theory. A lot of money spent.
Yeah.
And now you've got again another step of the maintenance ladder of having to open up that gate and put a lawnmower inside there and run it back and forth and then
clean it up
instead of just going back and forth and being over and done with. So you've now added time to the to the city. Again, we talk about paving. I think initially paving was not included as one of those things that you could do. However, the thought process would have been, partner with Mohawk Valley Water Authority and say, look, you need to redo the lines underneath this street.
Right.
We'll pay for those water lines, which water infrastructure, sewer infrastructure was a part of what you could use ARPA funds for. You guys pay for the paving. So this way it gets done either way along the way.
But you know what? Those things aren't pretty.
Sexy.
They're not sexy.
You don't see it.
Yeah.
You don't see it.
Yep.
Exactly right. Let's go out and paint all the fire hydrants.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I've got I'm dealing with a deal right now, a transaction where an assessment went up out of nowhere, and I'm still trying to fight it and look for answers. $50,000 on a house that really hasn't had any significant work. $50,000 assessment increase from 23 to 24, and I can't get a good explanation on it.
That's in Utica?
In East Utica.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
So if people's assessments think they're safe, they're not going to be.
Yeah.
And
generally the only time you'll have an assessment change is
permit or a whole neighborhood, right? Well, that's what I thought.
Got to do a whole neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, apparently not.
Look, how many times did we change the lines on Genesee Street from something that wasn't really talked about? I mean, they were changed. They were changed back.
Oh my God, what a mess!
And they changed back.
Yeah.
And that was costly. It's costly to do that.
I just know, and I'm just gonna even the new Tim Julian, the kinder, more gentle Tim Julian. Sorry, you rolled your eyes. I apologize. But I take you back to your to the peak of your mayoral tenure.
Mm-hmm.
You would not have been quiet, and the council needed leadership there to say somebody needed to grab the bull by the horns. I felt like.
Yeah. No. It should have occurred along the way, but who's going to sit there and buck and say, oh, wait a minute, this is a 0% tax increase?
Right.
This is crap.
You're
we
right.
can't do this.
Yeah.
We got to raise these taxes.
Yep.
No.
Nobody wants to do
There's
that.
no political expedience to that. None whatsoever. That doesn't make, again, the thought process is there should have been better stewardship of these projects.
Yeah.
I know that there was, and I've said this before, and I will say it again because it is true. If I, as mayor, had a county executive who was spending the type of money in the city of Utica as this county executive, Pacenti, is, I'd have been a lot happier of a guy.
It's unbelievable.
And if you think about that, we had $64 million. The county had, 40 some odd $1 million. Imagine if we partnered.
Yep.
Imagine if we partnered together and said, "Hey,
Work together,
what can we do together that will have
that was in
even a bigger impact?"
That was in the county executive's state of the county.
I know he was frustrated about it. Maintains that frustration level about it, but and I know he's done some things along the way inside the city of Utica with his ARPA funds that it's greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated, but they could have gone a lot further.
Yeah.
And now, people are going to look at this and say, oh, gosh, well, the city blew their ARPA money. But you can't blame Mayor Galimi for this now.
That is right.
You can't look at him and say, well, we're not going to do anything for you because you guys blew this. No, us guys didn't.
And it's also not fair to say that this was bait and switch, that you campaigned one way and then you get into office and do something else. By the way, as we've talked about, who would campaign on a 16.5% tax increase?
That'd be probably
nobody.
Probably a non-starter.
Yeah, probably. And then finally, as a former mayor, as a guy who's been in that seat, and whether it's mayor, you're a senator, you're a governor, whatever. There's doing the right thing, and then there's people's perception. The real important part of doing the right thing is convincing people that it's the right thing.
Yeah,
because it might not be the easiest thing.
No, look, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not going to be. The right thing is not
almost always.
Thing, I mean, we've faced these issues all along, and the city of Utica is always precipitously placed in an area that it could go one way or the other, and financially, and you get ahead a little bit, and then you get beaten down. I always look back at my first year in office. Our contribution to the New York State retirement system for our employees was $60,000. The year before, it was $0. When I left, it was $3.8 million.
Think about that.
When you think about it, you talk about like each, like $300,000 raised as a percent. I think now it's like 320. I think at the time maybe it was like 260, 270.
Yeah.
Think about that. Think about what type of increase you're talking about over an 8-year period of time to pick up this difference while doing nothing else.
Yeah.
And you talk about things that aren't sexy that people can't see.
Yep.
People don't see that retirement contribution at all unless you're a member of that system.
And I hate to say it, but be the administrator, be the mayor, be the person coming in to tell people.
It's a lonely place, man.
Yeah,
it's a lonely, dark place.
So, by the way, those retirement number. I mean, we're talking about them today. I wonder what this program's going to look like. What benefits you walk in with in 20 years, because the reality is, as we're living longer, it's unsustainable.
Sure. Yeah, no, it certainly is that. And the cost of health insurance at one time, which was, okay, hey, you're going to get health insurance for, life or for however long after you're out of this job until you're 65 or what have you. And that, people say, well, you bring the new people in, you bring them in at a lower wage, which you do. But you're also paying now 2 health insurances.
Yeah.
You're paying, you're paying all these other things along the way. And the thought, it's New York State has not set us up for success.
No, they have not.
Lance and Lee, why not institute a temporary sales tax increase like Griffo did when he was mayor for Rome Hospital? Spread the shortfall instead of putting it on the backs of homeowners, kind of like the county does.
That's also really popular.
Yeah. It isn't popular, but if you look at it the way I kind of look at the county sales tax, and you say, well, as a property owner, you kind of look at it a different way.
Yes.
I mean, this way, the guy who walks into the grocery store and buys himself a 16-ounce Coca-Cola is helping to defray the costs, whether he's a renter, whether he's a homeowner, or whether he's
lives in the valley
driving through.
Yeah.
And so when you look at things like that, I mean, you probably would need to look at how much of a sales tax you would be looking to do and for how long. The trouble with these things a lot of times is they don't go away.
And it's probably not a bad idea to consider in addition to whatever is done. Go to any major city and look at your receipt. You're paying a city tax.
You certainly are.
A lot.
You certainly are. Yeah. Sometimes it's almost more than what you bought.
Great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Tim Julian, we'll break. It's 8:24 WIBX.
At Destination Kia of Utica, you can keep your tax return
with no money down leases on over 400 new Kias.
Like a new 2024 Kia Forte LXS that gets 39 miles per gallon highway for only $348 a month for 36 months.
With 0 down, 0 due at inception, and sales tax included.
So keep your tax return and drive out in a new, fuel-efficient 2024 Kia Forte.
And that's just one example of the deals on over 400 new Kias.
Only at the family-owned and operated Destination Kia of Utica.
Now that's kooky. So go kooky for Kia at the all-new Destination Kia of Utica. Puppies and babies not included.
Stock number 24F0314. MSRP $21,940. 36 months, 33,000-mile lease. 20 cents per mile over. $0 due at inception. $0 security deposit. 8.75% sales tax and $650 acquisition fee included in payment structure. $400 disposition fee. 700 plus FICO score. EPA ratings. Prior orders excluded. Offer expires 2/29/24.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey, Frank, looks like business is booming. What are all those tabs you have open on your computer?
Oh, hey. Well, this one is for my SEO company. This one is for my website company. This one is for my CRM. This is for invoicing and estimates. This one does email. And this one does billing.
Geez, that sounds tricky to manage.
It's clunky, but I need all this to run my business. Wait, you run your own business, and you're even busier than I am. Don't you have all this stuff, too?
I do, but I get it all on one screen with the Town Square Business Management Platform.
What's that?
The Town Square Business Management Platform is an all-in-one tool that helps me grow and run my business. It combines website, billing, and scheduling into one program.
That sounds simpler than juggling all the tools I have now, but you still need someone else to help you find new business, right?
Nope. They have powerful digital advertising built into the platform as well, which helps me keep my calendar full. You can get a demo of the product for free. Check out their website. See if it makes sense for your business.
Go to townsquarelocal.com for a free demo of the Town Square Business Management Platform. Visit townsquarelocal.com. That's townsquarelocal.com.
It's time to stop letting road conditions dictate your journeys. Nokian tires, all-weather tires, are versatile enough for summer heat, spring rain, and winter snow. Just like you, Nokian tires' all-weather products are built for adventure in all conditions. Forget the forecast with a year-round tire approved for winter use. When you purchase 4 Nokian tires, you'll get installation, mounting, and balancing absolutely free in the month of February at Tolman's Tire and Auto Repair. Visit our stores in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at tolmanstire.com.
It's All Seasons Outfitters store-wide clearance sale. Find huge savings on your favorite brands. North Face, Champion, and select work boots 50% off. Outdoor games and baseball 50% off. Save 30% on winter boots and hunting apparel. 25% on workwear and hikers. You won't want to miss it. The savings are on at All Seasons Outfitters. See more on their Facebook page and allseasonsoutfitter.com. Your store for every season is All Seasons Outfitters.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Attorney Joe Cordell. Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills. Online at CordellCordell.com. 518-554-0000. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
I got to tell you, this is it's kind of interesting to see what's happening at the state level. Obviously, today is going to be a very big day because we're going to learn about what this commission has come up with in terms of the congressional districts and what they're going to look like. And then will the legislature and the governor be okay with it? And then can everybody get to work and start running in whatever district they're going to run in? This is a really, really important day today. But now with this campaign, this matching funds situation with campaign finance, I never thought this would fly, but it has.
I can't believe it's a thing.
It has. For instance, if you were to raise, if you do it right, and I know there are all sorts of hoops to jump through here, but if you were to do it right, some are saying if you were to raise somewhere along the lines of $10,000, you could walk away with $120,000 in additional funding.
It's insane.
That comes from the and this is huge for the assembly, where oftentimes the assembly races don't spend as much money. Now, the other part is we're putting all the elections, bundling all these elections into 1 year, and this is also a congressional year coming up, as well as a presidential year. There are not going to be enough evals on TV and radio to be able to run all these commercials. It's crazy.
It's going to be annoying.
It's going to be very interesting and probably very annoying. But what we are seeing is an influx in people running for the office at the state level. And in one case, it is Assemblyman Blankenbush. He represents north of town of Lee, just north of Rome, Boonville area, much of the North Country. And he has an opponent who we've heard from, and Assemblyman Blankenbush is on right now. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. How are you, Bill?
Good. Thanks for coming on. And
You're welcome.
So you heard what I just said there to open. I feel like what I'm saying is true.
Well, listen. First of all, let me be upfront about this. And I voted no. I did not support the campaign finance law. I never can figure out why we would be using taxpayers' monies to maybe support me when the people who don't like me,
right.
but their taxpayers' dollars would be used to help me run. Now, the bottom line, though, is the questions that I go back and forth with is, do you play the game? Do you have to to be on a level playing field with your opponent? Should you be applying for campaign finances when you're going to be looking at possibility of someone with a lot of money that's going to be thrown at you? And the question always came ever since this passed was, what do I do? And, I have not applied for it. We could apply for it by the 24th, I believe, of February, and that doesn't necessarily mean I would take it.
I got to tell you that I think, and I'm just going to give you my opinion, which means absolutely nothing. But I would tell you this, that the problem you have in the assembly is, it's number one, it's hard to raise money in the assembly.
Yeah,
there are some assembly members that can raise a lot of money. You're in a very rural district. And it just becomes very difficult to raise a lot of money. So,
well, it does.
But your opponent could raise $10,000 and walk away with basically $130,000.
I know,
to spend against you. I almost feel like you even though you voted against this and you were against it, you got to play by the. You're a fool if you don't play by the rules, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, and I know, and I probably at this time I probably am going to apply for it and just be eligible
see what happens.
for it.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you go back to my first race, the Democrats threw $430,000 against me, and I spent about $130. And when you talk about the only way to win against that big money is the door-to-door. And, that year I was out from April 1st all the way through until the November election, and it worked. But saying that, how much, when you could buy out the media and block you out on a lot of those things, you got to take a look at what the rules are. And I don't like the rules, and I want to make that very clear. And I really, to be honest with you, Bill, I've been going back and forth in my, do I apply for it or not? But it is what it is in New York, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it is. And this is.
It's just wasteful too. I mean, if you really think about,
Well, we're in a situation where money is not. I get we were feeling pretty like money was plentiful when COVID money was being thrown around. But, this is post-COVID now. The reality's stepping in. School districts, for instance, that have a huge fund balance are looking now like, what's it going to look like next year? We're a little nervous. Municipalities the same way. So
exactly.
It is, but at the same time, I understand kind of the concept. The concept is a lot of people can't run for office because they can't raise the money. So we want more people running. We want, how many times do you go and see people unopposed? I understand all that. But again, we are the state, and you're on the Republican side in the assembly, so you're sitting there in the lonely minority. But we are the state of overcorrection, it seems.
Well, yeah. And what happens, since I've been down there, you take a look at some of the bills that have been passed, and they pass these bills in the Assembly and the Senate without looking at the consequences down the road.
Yeah.
It always is like putting the cart before the horse. And it's been really a wide eye-opening thing for me to be sitting there in session debating some of these bills, and you just shake your head and think, where the hell did they come up with that? I mean, it's crazy stuff, some of this.
Well, we can just start naming them off. I mean, mandated school buses, electric school buses by 2035 or whatever. Bail reform without really talking to law enforcement and district attorneys' offices around the state. I mean, the list goes on.
Let's mention the school buses. When initially I was talking to up in my area, Indian River School District, Carthage Area School District, again, like you said, rural districts. And by the way, I don't have a city in my district. It's all it's all towns and villages.
Yep.
But when you talk to those guys, you talk to the transportation guys up there. I believe Carthage has something like 89 buses, and at an average of about $408,000 a bus. Do the math.
Yeah.
And then for the governor to come out and say that the state is going to help the school districts, where are we going to get that money to do that?
Yeah.
Second of all, I was told by one of my, the Carthage school districts, one run goes from Carthage to a place called Natural Bridge and back. I've been told once that one run, it's done. They'd have to plug in again. I mean,
not to mention the cold mornings up north. I'm sure it's
well. I have
sickly warm.
We're speaking, by the way, with Assemblyman Ken Blankenbush. Ken has the district. What is it? The one? What is your? I'm sorry, I didn't write it down.
117th.
117th. I thought it was. So into the North Country, and it includes parts of our area, including parts of Boonville, town of Lee, and that sort of thing. So.
Boonville and the town of Lee are my new ones.
I have a hybrid, and I love it.
Yes,
it's a Mazda.
And my wife does too.
But so you know exactly the deal is when it's a normal day in the summertime when I'm driving in, I can drive with a hybrid. I get about 7 to 17 miles, 27, whatever it is. I can drive in, and I can drive back home, make a stop, go back out, and come home, and I still have not run out of battery. Don't spend an ounce of gasoline. But if I'm running my heater in the morning, running the rear defrost and all that, I won't make it all the way to work. Now,
no,
that's just it cuts it in half.
Plus, the one thing that when you talk about this stuff, you don't really talk about the safety issues.
Right.
Our EMT guys and our volunteer fire department guys, they have to be trained a certain way if it's an all-electric car that's in an accident, because if the battery catches on fire, you cannot put the battery you can't put that out.
Extremely hot fire. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, it's a crazy thing.
Well, my father-in-law is with the state SSFC, and Rick Timms, who has been on this program and has worked with legislators throughout the state. And when talking about electric school buses, just the fact that what do you do with you park them all in a lot, and they're usually parked side by side by side. And Carthage has how many school buses? 39 school buses.
I believe 89.
89 school buses.
89.
So now you have 89 electric school buses, and let me tell you, it can happen in the middle of the night while they're being charged. there could be a fire. One of those goes up, and you will lose the entire fleet.
Yes. There is a YouTube video that shows how fast the school bus will go up, and I can't find it now. It was sent to me, but what you can see is the point that they sent it to me, saying, if there's students in this bus and that catches on fire, not one of them will make it out the door.
Oh.
And I wish I could find it again, but I can't.
Let me ask you. You would agree? I'm asking, I guess. Would you agree that ultimately we are going to be looking at some point we're going to be electric? I mean, it's coming. But,
yes, it is.
But we are not. I believe infrastructure, money, everything that has to be dealt with, especially in a cold climate. And by the way, not a level climate. We are a very hilly with a lot of hills. We're just not there yet. Do you agree with that?
You know what? I think that if you look down the road, and I'm talking 15, 20 years, we might be there.
Yeah.
First of all you've got to do is talk to anyone who knows anything about the grid. The grid's not going to be able to even handle this.
Right, not yet. Yep.
I mean, yes, I think down the road something, but no, not now.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. All the plows, all the snow plows in the municipalities that have snow plows, they're going to have to be electric. I know up in Black River, where I live in the village of Black River, we had a snowstorm of 4 feet, and my guys told me that they were plowing for 16 hours. You think an electric snowplow is going to be able to do that?
Not with the current technology. It's not going to happen.
You're right.
Assemblyman Blankenbush, we appreciate it. Let's do it again. I know that it'll be a few weeks before you know if you have an opponent who's been able to collect the signatures, and I know the finance thing is there. So there's a lot to talk about. Let's do this again, maybe even get you in studio at some point.
Well, I'd love to be in studio. I would really like that. We'll do that. Maybe shoot for. I know I can't do it on a Friday because you got that tied up by the senator, I hear.
That's Friday, at least for this Friday. This Friday we're at Daylight Donuts tomorrow. So
3 hours of Joe. Okay,
3 hours of Joe. That's why he calls it Joe time. Yes.
Yeah. But I will maybe sometime in March we'll be able to go down.
I look forward to that. Beautiful.
All right, that'd be great.
All right, Assemblyman, thank you. Good luck out there. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a great day. I want to, before we break, switch. By the way, that's Assemblyman Blankenbush. 1/17 covers much of the North Country, as he said. Not a single city in his legislative district. Wow. There's been a renewed sense, before we break, of urgency in Washington regarding the influx of migrants at the northern U.S. border crossing. We've seen that here. Obviously, we in New York are a border state. On the line right now with everything there is to know, the one and only Tanya J. Powers. Good morning.
That is quite the intro. Thank you.
I was going to go hot. I was going to go a little bigger, but I figured it would embarrass.
We would embarrass you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here she is, the one and only Tanya J. Powers.
In a new hour.
Fox News Radio.
We're talking a little later in the morning.
The only thing I'm lacking is entrance music there, guys. I really
hold on.
Let's
Hail to the Chief wasn't available.
Hold on, is 4 up?
Okay,
is 4 up?
got it.
Let's try
4.
that.
Yeah.
And
here she comes. Yes.
This is definitely something that's getting a lot more attention. And I think one of the reasons this is getting a lot more attention is because there was a New York Times story 2-3 days ago. It was a big story about the northern border and gave some information that from the Customs and Border Protection folks, the same information, by the way, that that Fox has quoted and everybody else.
Yeah.
It's the numbers are definitely part of the story. I think the thing that really got my attention about that particular story from them was the pictures that went along with it, that really go a lot more deep into what it actually looks like up there. I don't think most of America understands what it looks like along the northern U.S. border in places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, the big headline was that the Customs and Border Protection folks say there's been a 241% spike in the number of migrants crossing along the northern border in fiscal year 2023 compared to the previous year. That's the headline. That 241% is a big number. If you drill down into that, which I want to do that and give you a little context for that spike, the Customs and Border Protection Chief Patrol Agent Robert Garcia posted on X that more than 3,100 people had been apprehended since October.
Wow.
That at the northern border. That was more than the total of the past 4 fiscal years combined. So that jumped out at me. But it also, when you look at this compared to the southern border, I mean, the two, it is definitely apples and oranges. It's not the same amount of people, for sure. But that, like I said, that is a jump, and he does make that clear in his numbers. The other thing he put out here that really stood out to me, and I don't know if everybody else has really kind of glommed onto this or not, but this 3,100 number since October, they're in 55 countries. That part got my attention.
Yeah.
I was not aware that there were that many people from diverse countries like that crossing the northern
border, right?
Yeah. Because what we normally see at the southern border, the normal story that we hear are people coming from Central America up, through Mexico and across there. Obviously, this is something that you guys would know a lot about, being further upstate, because 70% of that spike of the migrant crossings are happening in upstate New York, Vermont, and New Hampshire.
It's very interesting. A lot along the northern border for us, the St. Lawrence. And then, you have, obviously, you go up towards Watertown. There's the military base just south of the border. But our border, when we really think about it, we only really think about Niagara Falls. And then that formal border where people are coming in and coming out. But if you choose to, go rural and hike into New York, there are many areas where no one's going to know you just came through.
And that's part of the story that pointed this out, that people take one-way, if they can afford them. Yeah. They take one-way flights to Toronto or Montreal, and then they make their way south to those border towns, at the U.S. The thing I was talking about with the pictures and the times, where there's a picture in particular where it just shows this concrete, marker coming up out of the ground that says U.S. on one side and Canada on the other. Yeah. There isn't a big fence. There's not, and I think a lot of people don't realize that that's what it looks like in some areas, not everywhere.
Yeah.
But that's because we're getting such a different view of what it looks like at the southern border. Northern is completely different.
Yeah. Meanwhile, everybody's thinking what they see again at the border crossing. I will tell you, I used to do a TV show, nightly TV show, Tanya. And we literally drove around. The entire show was driving from place to place, and we drove up to Niagara Falls, and we were videotaping as we crossed back into the U.S. They pulled us over. They took our cameras. I was put into, this was right after 9/11. Great timing. We were put into I probably spent 7 hours in a cell waiting to get our camera back. They weren't going to let us out until we erased the camera. Erased the tape.
Wow.
Yeah. So, of course, I made it look like I was erasing the tape and didn't erase the tape. But still, I thought I was going to spend the night there. So why would you want to cross through that when you could just hike through rural areas and just cross in by that piece of concrete coming out of the ground? That's the easy way to get in.
The other part of that is, of course, it's treacherous depending on what time of the year you're doing this.
Right.
The CBP says that at least a dozen migrants have frozen to death in rivers or forests in the last 2 winters, and that includes families and children and a pregnant woman in December. So, it does come with its risks, much like, the southern border does. There's a whole different, the terrain is its own threat.
Different dynamics. So, all right, interesting stuff. Tanya, Jay Powers, we do not have the same wonderful outro that we had with your... Oh, maybe we do. There she goes. Have a wonderful day, Tanya. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
She's marching out with her torch. With a torch.
The Olympics are coming up in Paris.
They are. What do you want me to do? You want me to break and come back
break
and wrap
come
it up?
back.
I can do it. And we'll wrap up this. Hey, you have any comments on anything going on? Do you have any comments on the Utica situation? I know people like to app in their comments or put them in on YouTube, but you can still call us at 315-736-0186. We'll take a few calls before we get out of here, and Or is there something else bothering you? I know Wayne's big thing is the collapsing sewer system. And when you look down through into the manhole, into the drains, you see nothing but mud under there and collapsed concrete. And as he says, how would it? No wonder why we're having flooding. And these are problems that are not being addressed because, as the former mayor said, Tim Julian, it's not sexy. Do you have a comment on any of it or whatever it is that's on your mind? 315-736-0186. Fred F. Collins & Sons, Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, has been in business for some 90 years. And they just get better and better as every year goes on. It's all about services provided to their customers. And you don't have to be a customer. You could call and become a customer, and they have you covered. If your furnace goes down, in fact, I talked to somebody just last night, the minute it gets cold, if your furnace is on the brink, the minute you start really making it work, that's when it goes down. And I know there was one property owner, he has a friend of mine who has a host of apartments. He had 2 furnaces go down last night. Wow. And you have to fix that immediately. Collis is there on call 24/7. Whether it's a holiday, a weekend, it doesn't matter. They have you covered. Call them today, 315-860-1301. The other thing is they offer it's a great program. It is absolutely free, and it is their energy efficiency. They'll do an audit for you, come through your home, and really tell you where you're losing your money. Is it an old refrigerator? Is it bad insulation? Is it a non-efficient furnace? Or are you running light bulbs that are just jacking your system, jacking your bill up? They'll go through everything and give you a report, and then you can decide, do I want to spend some money, or am I just going to change the light bulbs? Do I want to spend some money, or do we get rid of this refrigerator? You make the call. Call them today. It's absolutely free with no obligation. 315-860-1301. 8:52. We'll wrap it up. Coming right up with John Decker on WIBX.
Rev up your savings with Steve Ponte Chevrolet in Herkimer. Picture yourself behind the wheel of the powerful 2024 Chevy Silverado. Enjoy financing as low as 2.9% for 72 months, or a rebate up to $6,000 on select models. Looking for adventure? Take a ride in the 2024 Trailblazer LS. Lease it for 3 years with 10,000 miles per year for only $329 a month. Don't miss out on these incredible offers at Steve Ponte Chevy. You are trusted family-owned and operated dealership. Stop by and see why it's always easy to do business at Steve Ponte Chevy, or visit their complete inventory at stevepontechevy.com. Chevrolet, together let's drive. For lease and financing offers, customers must qualify for top-tier credit through GM Financial. Silverado offer on select models. Must have a 2010 or newer Chevrolet trade-in. Lease must have current lease in household. All taxes, fees, and first payment due on delivery. See salesperson for details. Must take delivery by 2/29/2024.
For a limited time at Mattress Express, qualified buyers will get 60 months to pay on any purchase $1,500 or higher with no money down. That includes all brands of mattresses in the store and massage chairs. See store for details.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, let me go to John Decker, who's standing by on the line right now. John is the chief White House correspondent with Great TV. John, good morning.
Good morning to you, Bill. Hope you're doing well today.
Doing well. You've been all over the place. We've been following your reports and questions, and there's just been so much that has happened. I just want to throw some stuff at you. Let's start.
Okay, sure.
Let's start with the Supreme Court, ready to decide whether to take up the Trump immunity case. Do you still believe they will not take this case?
Yeah, I do. I do believe that. It would take 4 justices to decide to take up this issue. I don't think there are 4 justices that would do that. I think maybe, like, if you're going to think about anybody that wants to take this issue up, Alito and Thomas, but that's it. So I don't think the Supreme Court's going to take up this matter. I think they're going to let stand the decision by that unanimous 3-judge panel of the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. And if that happens, Bill, that would allow the federal district court judge presiding over the election interference case, Tanya Chutkin, to then set a trial date for that trial.
That's significant, of course. I don't know, have we ever had this happen during a presidential campaign?
We have not. This is unique. This is no president, first of all, has ever been charged with anything criminally like Donald Trump has been charged. And that's also what makes this whole issue so unique. I think that Donald Trump, it seems to me, instructed his lawyers the legal theory that they should pursue. And that legal theory is one in which Donald Trump is claiming absolute immunity for all of his actions while he was president of the United States. And that is a really difficult theory to defend if you're Donald Trump's lawyers. We saw that. I saw that when I was in the hearing room with the 3-judge panel, and they asked that hypothetical question: could a president order SEAL Team 6 to take out their political opponent? And that's the type of hypothetical that really tripped up the lawyer representing Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah. There's just no way anyone, I can't imagine, would want such a thing.
Well, look, Donald Trump once said, believes that is what is necessary. But I think that's a really difficult type of legal theory to defend. And that type of legal theory was eviscerated by that 3-judge panel of the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals in their opinion, their ruling. And, I just don't see the Supreme Court saying, you know what, we want to decide this particular issue. We want to hear oral arguments on this particular issue. But I do believe that they'll make a decision as to whether or not the legal term is grant cert or deny cert. I think they'll make that decision very quickly. And if that happens, then we could have some
trial,
this issue resolved very quickly.
Is there an element in American politics today that does not believe that democracy as it stands, our republic as it stands, can work properly?
I think it can work properly. Absolutely. This is the best system in the world. There are those, you hear them, you see them often on cable television talking about, the possibility of the U.S. and our democracy, failing, if Donald Trump is elected president. I think our system is very strong, no matter what happens in the 2024 presidential election.
A Mayorkas impeachment now headed to the Senate. It seems like it's dead on arrival, getting criticism from conservative Republicans.
Well, it's getting criticism from those in the Senate that would have to take up the impeachment as far as the trial is concerned. You have conservative Republicans saying this is a waste of time, and they're saying that publicly. They're saying that the work that was undertaken by the House Republicans is a waste of time because it's a 51-49 advantage that Democrats have in the Senate, and you're not going to get 67 votes that would be necessary to convict and remove Secretary Mayorkas. So what was the purpose in going through this procedure in the first place? That's the argument that I hear.
I want to ask you, Senate Republicans annoyed by House Speaker's comments on the Ukraine aid bill. And then that announcement that came yesterday, I almost feel like there are members of the Republican Party trying to remind the House that there are real dangers in the world. And Ukraine winning over Russia is really, really important.
Well, that's right. That's the reason why you had more than 24 Senate Republicans join with most Senate Democrats in terms of supporting that security aid bill that would provide security aid for Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan, even $9 billion in humanitarian aid for Palestinians in Gaza. And that's strong bipartisanship when you see a vote like that, and to see the House Speaker debate with himself as to whether or not to put this bill on the floor is, I think, angering to some of those Senate Republicans who really have gone out on a limb in taking the position that they've taken on that security bill.
All right, going to be very, very interesting, John. This stuff is so unprecedented. Can't wait to talk next week.
I look forward to it. And by the way, tomorrow, President Biden, a year after that terrible disaster in East Palestine, Ohio, he visits that community. That disaster happened February the 3rd of last year, Bill. And tomorrow, President Biden will finally pay a visit to that community.
All right. Wow. John, thanks. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Bill. Bye-bye.
Have a great day. WIBX Utica Rome.
CJ Papa, Fox News.
People around me thought they were fireworks, and then everyone started screaming, gunshot, gunshot.
The innocence of a child robbed during a mass shooting during the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory parade. Cheers turning to tears. Fox's Bill Malusian.
Authorities say as of right now, at least 3 people are in custody in connection with the shooting. They've also recovered at least 1 gun on scene. The motive and what initially caused all this is still under investigation. A local hospital in Kansas City says they've been treating 11 children, 9 of which had gunshot wounds. Thankfully, we got some good news on that front. The hospital said that all of those kids are expected to survive and make a full recovery.
But a popular local radio DJ, Mama 2, identified as Lisa Lopez Galvan, was the person who was killed in the mass shooting. Kansas City Chiefs star player Travis Kelce posting on X, "I am heartbroken over the tragedy that took place today. My heart is with all who came out to celebrate with us and have been affected. KC, you mean the world to me." Calls for President Biden to declassify intel related to what's been described as a serious national security threat.
The House Intel Chair Mike Turner is calling on President Biden to declassify all information relating to this threat so that Congress, the administration, and our allies can openly discuss the actions necessary to respond to this threat. It's possible this information was collected using FISA Section 702, which the House was going to vote to reauthorize this week with amendments until Speaker Johnson pulled it from the floor yesterday. If that is what is happening, it would also violate a 1967 nuclear treaty covering nukes in space.
Fox's Peter Ducey, California Congressman Mike Garcia.
I can neither confirm nor deny the nation of interest, the technologies involved here, but I will say that in my 47 years of life, this is the most important national security issue that this country has faced.
The Republican on Fox Business. America is listening to Fox News.
Sneezing, coughing, stuffy nose, runny nose, postnasal drip, interrupted sleeping. I was groggy at the end of the day.
Allergies and sinus congestion were making Jana miserable. Then, a friend recommended Navage. Navage provides immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Navage helps you breathe